number 10 we have Amber Heard. Now many haven't heard much of her since her loss in the defamation case against her ex-husband Johnny Depp. However, most recently Amber has been blamed for Kara's addiction struggle by a famous gossip columnist. Kara has opened up numerous times to the media about how rough her struggles with hard substances and thoughts of ending her life have been for her. But how was Amber involved? Well, for one, there's her past alleged romantic involvement with the actress while Amber was still married to Johnny. This went as far as Kara's name being dragged into their trial because old elevator footage obtained by the opposing legal team showed the actresses making out, which further proved Amber was unfaithful during her marriage. But their connection goes even deeper and seems a lot more troubling for the stars. Allegedly, they were additionally the organizers of sensual Hollywood parties, which numerous billionaire tech moguls were involved in. Jessica insisted that Kara was supposedly one of the famous women that Amber had set up her billionaire clients with. However, Jessica has no solid confirmation about how Kara was rumoredly involved in these events aside from pictures of Kara at the parties. Like most parties, there were always drink and substance consumption occurring, which was said to be a major portion of the issues Kara is still reportedly going through. Jessica has labeled Amber as the enabler for quote hooking Kara on hardcore redacted at these parties. While there's no real way of knowing how much or little this could have affected Kara, it definitely didn't help. If you haven't yet, tap the notification bell for more, it really helps our channel. At number 9 we have Megan Thee Stallion. Now we all know how confusing it was to see Kara's encounters with Megan at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards. It got so wild that fans worryingly assumed Kara was tripping on something and acting creepy while she followed the body artist around. At the time, one tweeted, "Memes beside, Cara Delevingne is so creepy and I hope she gets a restraining order from Megan Thee Stallion." Another accused Cara of being obsessed. However, the Suicide Squad actress eventually had to clear her name from the viral moment on July 22nd, where she had to finalize that she was simply a really excited hype woman at the time. The incident in question, in short, is that Cara was trailing Megan around the event, pulling odd faces at Megan and staring at Megan posing on the red carpet, later joining Megan in her photo op to assist her with her dress. It was eventually clarified that Cara attended the event with the rapper and Megan did not deny this. In Cara's explanation to Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, she explained, quote, "I really wanted to see her play and she asked me to come along with her. I didn't know I was gonna go sit or do anything. I thought I was just going to come and watch her play. I walked in and I had a seat in the front row and I'm like, I'm not meant to be here." At number 8 we have Poppy Delevingne. According to numerous reports, Poppy visited Cara's West Hollywood home last Wednesday morning. News outlets didn't state what she was there for, as she most likely didn't give reporters a reason. However, it was detailed that Poppy exited the house around 11 a.m. to leave in a black SUV. Poppy did inform them about an update on Cara, where she told them Cara was doing fine nowadays. It's still unknown whether or not Cara was home while Poppy was visiting though. Still, further media news released pieces that the socialite had rushed over to her sister from London because she was concerned for Cara's well-being with all the public incidents she was experiencing mixed in with her no-show events. It's a well-known fact that Cara and Poppy share an incredibly close sisterly bond. At number 7 we have Cara's Suicide Squad co-star and bestie Margot Robbie. According to reports made by TMZ, Margot was another famous pal of Cara's who popped to visit to her home on that same Wednesday. In Margot's case, she was photographed taking off from Cara's house looking visibly distressed and in tears. In photos, Margot is pictured with a reported bag of toiletries. Her visit came in light of Cara's then latest incidents, indicating that she might not be okay. Margot was described to still be distraught several hours after leaving Cara's residence around 5 p.m. Similar to Poppy, nobody knows if Cara was inside when Margot showed up. At number 6 we have Jay-Z. One of Cara's most heavily reported incidents over the past few weeks have been her getting forced to depart off the rapper's private jet while she was experiencing a reportedly erratic display at an LA airport. The British model's family and friends remain in fear that they will need to soon host an urgent intervention for the English star after witnessing her recently questioning behavior. This occasion was also the time when shocking photos and videos of Cara emerged online, showing her twirling around the airport with no shoes on. Cara also reportedly had bruises littered on her arm and her hair was unbrushed. This also followed up on her behavior prior to, when she appeared to be out of the sort while smoking, and also from her quote wild behavior at her Ibiza party with her loved ones. At number 5 we have Doja Cat. Another female rapper whose presence Cara graced at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards was the need-to-know musician Doja. At the time, Cara donned every headline you can think of for her odd behavior regarding Megan, both prior to and during the awards ceremony. But these weren't the only things that caught the media's attention. While seated for the show, Cara was brightly stationed front and center, and on either side of her was Doja and Megan. A fan-recorded video showed Megan and Doja, who were both nominated for a big award, holding a regular conversation. The actress soon pops her head out seemingly out of the blue while they're discussing and chimes into their conversation. Doja, who noticed her presence right away in surprise but seemed to not know Cara was there prior to her jumping in, said, "Oh my god, hi Cara Delevingne." In a since viral clip, Megan and Doja seemed to chuckle the encounter off. However, this is where things get a little weird. While they all seemed fine at the event, when it was over, Megan took to her Instagram stories to celebrate her win and the night. In one photo Megan reposted from a fan account, she and Doja are posed together smiling, but fans quickly pulled up the original photo and attempted to piece two and two together. In the OG, Cara was sitting between both rappers and resultantly ended up being edited out Diddy style from the snapshot. At number 4 we have Lady Mary Chartreuse. Starting with the fact that Mary has been sober since 2018 and Cara is supposedly spiraling nowadays, with reports saying she's falling back into her addiction, this may be proof that this particular friendship could be exposing more than they think. Both are people of importance in Hollywood who came from affluent upbringings and run in the same inner circle. The longtime friends were also both celebrating Cara's exclusive 30th birthday party together in Spain. But despite their closeness, many spectators of Cara's situation have hinted that Mary could be the most concerned for her besties nowadays. At number 3 we have all-rounder Rihanna. The supermodel and Rihanna are actually super close and have been for quite a few years now. Given the inner circle Cara runs in though, alongside her DGAF attitude, it may not be all that surprising to know that she has a personality so similar to her close friend known as the Queen Riri. The entrepreneur and superstar and Cara first introduced themselves to one another at a fashion show. The pair would later star in Luc Besson's then eventual film Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. When Cara spoke about this experience of theirs once to Glamour, she stated, "I've seen her work in the studio, in concerts, in meeting, but to see her act was incredible. And while they do more than just party together, whenever they do, they clearly always have a great time." When Rihanna turned 30 in 2018, Cara posted an Instagram collage of them having fun in honor of her bestie's bash. Outside of their personal affairs, the two even support each other professionally. Cara walked Rihanna's 2020 Savage X Fenty runway for the Business Bosses fashion show. At number 2 we have Sienna Miller. Now Sienna and Cara have quite similar behavior, and if you take a moment to even confirm this, you'll find tons of articles on their party animal ways. Furthermore, Sienna is basically dubbed as another enabler in Cara's life, as she is someone who Cara frequently allows her wilder side to shine with. This kind of dependence in the relationship could very well have played a hand in some of the recent reports of Cara floating around. However, Sienna is still considered to be one of Cara's closest friends, especially because of Sienna's friendship with Poppy. Reports detail that Poppy and Sienna lived together in New York after they left school. An apparent close insider to both Sienna and Cara informed Page Six back at the beginning of the year that the duo were a pair who enjoyed a wild time together quite often, and that they've been longtime friends because of this. The insider was referencing a kiss Sienna and Cara reportedly shared in a club at the time. At number 1 we have Ajira Aboa, who met Cara while they were both still teen models. The pair did a featured sit-down with Glamour back in 2017, and in it, they spoke of their memories together and the fact that they couldn't figure out when their exact meeting happened. Ajira solely remembers Cara, quote, walking around on the street of London in a cardboard box. As the two recalled some of their earliest bonding moments in their life together, they giggled about the time they were at Glastonbury, as well as their first trip to the Burning Man festival. According to Cara, they were driven to the event by a woman who was pregnant and blind. When speaking on the basis of their friendship, Ajira described it as so: "People call us model best friends, but we were friends before. What I've always been grateful for in our friendship is that we expect absolutely nothing from each other, just friendship." Cara and Ajira even share a matching tattoo of a half-red heart inked onto their hands to symbolize the close genuinity of their friendship.
At number 10, we have Justin Bieber. Tom Cruise's train of haters doesn't just end with A-list Hollywood actors and actresses. Apparently, Justin Bieber is one of them as well, or is he? Justin and Tom's history doesn't go that far back, as their interaction, or lack thereof, was so random. Literally, no one saw it coming. A few years ago, Justin tweeted out to his fans about wanting to fight Tom. Fans were understandably confused because where was this coming from? One fan asked, "Why Tom Cruise of all people?" And another said, "Did I miss something?" Both very valid points, as there had been no exchange between the two that would explain why Justin would want to fight Tom. A year later, the singer explained the intention behind his tweet, and it's anticlimactic as it comes. In an interview, he said, "I don't know, I was just being stupid, to be honest." So no, he doesn't actually want to fight Tom, and there doesn't seem to be any real bad blood between them. He also admitted that it was just a random tweet, which he claims to do often. He had seen one of Tom's interviews at the time. It honestly could have been any celebrity, but that day it just happened to be Tom. At number 9, we have Kate Middleton and Prince William. Tom was at the premiere for the sequel Top Gun Maverick. This was a royal charity premiere event, so Prince William and Kate were attending the premiere as well. Sounds random if you ask me, but I don't know how these things work, so what do I know? Once the royal couple made it to the carpet, they were greeted by Tom as well as some other staff crew. But Tom took it upon himself to escort them personally. I don't know if it was to suck up to them both for the press or he valued them that much, but it could easily be both. It's not every day a member of the royal family would partake in such an event, never mind two. Videos at the premiere showed him offer his hand to Kate, and viewers praised Tom for being a gentleman. But others believe that Kate and Prince William were actually uncomfortable with it. One fan pointed out that Kate had held her clutch in her other hand to avoid taking Tom's hand again. One other person commented how she apparently looked mortified and that the royals aren't to be touched, even by a wildly successful actor like Tom himself. They also claimed how Kate is a conservative woman, so holding hands with just about anyone is already a no-no, but she had done it in the spur of the moment as to not create a scene. At number 8, we have Trey Parker and Matt Stone. When it comes to South Park and its jokes, it usually treads against dark humor waters, as many adult comedy shows are. If you're a big name, chances are they've probably joked about you at least once. And Tom Cruise was not an exception, whom the writers later found themselves in a potential legal battle with. Back in 2005, there were talks of the actor suing Trey Parker and Matt Stone for defamation after they insinuated something about him on their show. The joke in question was Tom's character inside a closet with an animated version of his ex, Nicole Kidman, urging him to come out of said closet. The writers were implying his sexuality, which he didn't like. Now, for a case like defamation, you'd think that they were out to literally defame his name and character. It became such an issue, the episode that came after had a disclaimer that read, "All characters and events on this show, even those based on real persons, are entirely fictional." It remains unclear if Tom ended up going through with this case or not, but at the time, rumors regarding his sexuality was talked about a lot in Hollywood, and it wasn't the first time someone was warned of being sued by the actor for these claims. At number 7, we have Kate Ceberano. Lots of people thought that he and Australian singer Kate Ceberano were close buddies when it was revealed she is also a member of the Scientology church. And if you didn't know, Tom Cruise is known for two things: being an actor and being an active member of Scientology. So everyone thought the two were at least in similar social circles until the singer shut them down. They are in fact not friends, as she further described the rumor that it's like assuming every Catholic person was friends with the Pope. And that's actually a valid point too. Scientology has quite the following, but that doesn't mean everyone knows each other. That's literally impossible. In 2009, when Tom was still with Kate, they were seen going to Australia, which is when the beliefs started going around. When asked if she met up with the stars, she said no and that she doesn't even know them. She rarely ever mentions her Scientology beliefs and doesn't like how often she's associated with Tom just because of it. She also decided that it isn't even worth her time or energy to keep denying them and allows people to decide whatever they want to believe despite her telling the truth. When asked about it, she said, "You know how it goes in the end, you go whatever." At number 6, we have Kirstie Alley. It was believed that there was some bad blood between the two, or that it was one-sided beef that Tom had with the actress. When it was first reported that Kirstie passed away last year, people thought that Tom would at least acknowledge it to the public, as many others did. But he didn't. Rumors that there was drama between the two started after Leah Remini's memoir briefly mentioned how Tom didn't like Kirstie, and the way he dealt with the news of her passing only seemed to solidify it. In the memoir, she also wrote how Kirstie was one of the few that wasn't even invited to Tom and Katie Holmes' wedding in 2006. Nothing was confirmed, but it was definitely clear that Kirstie was at least a loyal person and fellow member of the Scientology church alongside Tom. When talks of Tom and the church auditioning women to become his wife came out, she defended Tom. When asked about it, she said, "I think whenever you have articles written that there are third and fourth parties' opinions, it's like the game Gossip and you don't get the truth. I think that a magazine of that caliber should have interviewed him and then they would get the truth." Next on the list, we have Nazanin Boniandi. Before Tom married Kate, he was married to actress Nazanin. Their marriage was met with tons of criticism due to the unorthodox ways of going through with it. It was reported that he needed someone who shared the same religious beliefs as him, as his previous relationships with members outside of Scientology didn't work out. Apparently, Nazanin had been accepted into one of their institution's buildings meant for celebrities, where she met one of the Scientologist higher-ups. He told her she was meant to complete a mission that would help her meet lots of other Scientologists like herself. Apparently, she was dating and was engaged to another man at the time, which they coerced her into breaking up with him, along with telling her to get rid of her red hair and her short-term braces. This confrontation also came with an agreement that said if she messed up in any way, she would be shunned by the church and her own mother. It was this contract where she allegedly agreed to marry Tom. Lots of her rights and personal freedoms were no longer hers, as she basically signed her life away. These reports were never officially confirmed, as many are still speculation, but she did end up leaving the church altogether when she and Tom divorced in 1990. Next on the list at number 4, we have David Miscavige. These two were friends, and this is said with a huge question mark because their friendship was weird. One former member of Scientology who worked closely with David said that their friendship was the most intense, expensive romance in history. As a world-famous Hollywood actor and as the leader of Scientology, this makes sense considering their huge roles in society. It was reported that Tom's fame in the industry was constantly a liability, especially when the news broke out that he and Katie were getting divorced. He allegedly was not happy with this new wave of negative attention the church was receiving as a result. Even though Scientology has always had a bad rep, if I'm not mistaken, he was convinced that their divorce brought upon lies and misconception about their beliefs. Supposedly, one former Scientologist used Tom's divorce as their way to further smear the church with lies so they could promote themselves. And then there were rumors that Tom himself would be leaving Scientology as well. But this was back in 2012. Seeing as he's still an active participant in his church, I don't think he'll be leaving anytime soon. At number 3, we have Penelope Cruz. The two actors met on set of the movie Vanilla Sky, where they both starred in it. Tom was still married to Nicole Kidman at the time, and the timeline transitioning between relationships was questionable. When he and Nicole had their divorce finalized in August 2001, was the same month Tom and Penelope went public as a couple for the first time. Despite rumors she involved herself with a married man, she shut them down. She said, "I've never fallen in love with someone I'm working with. It's always been afterwards. If something becomes friendship, then maybe months later it becomes something else, but you can never know." And the two seemed very happy together. They were both successful and undeniably attractive, so what could go wrong? They ended up breaking up 3 years later, and it was believed that his Scientologist views were a big part of it. One source claimed that Tom was looking to propose, but Penelope felt that the Church of Scientology was the third wheel in their relationship. Penelope doesn't have anything against the church, but it just wasn't her thing. She admired Tom's dedication to it, but it wasn't her cup of tea and wasn't something she wanted to give her life up for. At number 2, we have Mimi Rogers. Now, before Katie Holmes and Penelope Cruz and Nicole Kidman, there was Mimi Rogers. The two met and started dating in 1985, but they both can't seem to agree on how they met. Tom said they met at a dinner party, while Mimi claimed they were set up by friends. Their marriage happened just as fast, as they were wed in a super secret and private wedding ceremony in 1987. The fact that they both couldn't agree how they met, it makes sense then that they also couldn't agree on how or why they decided to separate in 1990. This time, it was ideas between them two and rumors brought forth by fans and the media. Some included Mimi being jealous of Tom's success in Hollywood, as she is also an actress herself, their 6-year age gap that took a toll on their marriage, and even the fact that she hated being constantly referred to as Tom's wife. Their public statement announcing the divorce didn't make anything clearer. That was until Mimi said in an interview that Tom confessed that he wanted to become a monk and that their marriage wouldn't have been able to withstand his spiritual needs. And finally, at number 1, we have Suri Cruz. In case you didn't know, because I for sure didn't, Tom has 3 children in total. His first 2 kids were with Nicole Kidman, and Suri is his youngest and latest daughter with Katie Holmes. When he and Katie got divorced, people questioned what would become of their parenting situation. Would they have joint custody? Would Suri go stay with her mom? Allegedly, Tom was not granted any custody and it was all appointed to Katie. while Tom's relationship with his 2 elder kids remains stable as they're also members of Scientology, people believe that the same can't be said for his relationship with Suri. One source claimed that they were estranged. The last time Tom was seen in public with Suri was in 2012, and they were spending a day together in Disneyland. 2012 was also the year he and Katie got divorced, so speculators claim that that was one of the last times he got to see her. Another source claimed their estrangement was only inevitable as Katie left him to protect their daughter from Scientology. Now imagine having such a bad reputation. We can list down at least 20 notable individuals in the industry that probably don't like you. The range this man has, and I'm not just talking about his acting career.
Coming number 10 today, we have Miley Cyrus. At one point, Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus were pretty good friends, and as their fame started to take off, their environment would grow to be the perfect storm for jealousy, self-loathing, and unreasonable competition. Things even got so bad between the two. At one point, Selena and Miley were even characterized as mortal enemies, battling it out for the ultimate Disney crown. The feud all started when Miley started dating Nick Jonas, and after they broke up, he became romantically linked to Selena Gomez. After Selena confirmed her relationship with Nick Jonas, over the next couple of years, the girls would have a number of small passive-aggressive and ultimately meaningless gestures that took place on both sides, like back in 2008 when Selena and Demi made that YouTube video, and then Miley and her friend Mandy made fun of the video by spoofing it. While it seems like the stars have no bad blood today between them, they definitely aren't exactly friends either. Number 9. Justin Bieber. It's clear that Justin Bieber isn't really happy since his wife, Hailey Bieber, and ex Selena Gomez developed a close bond recently. It's said that the Peaches singer has even warned the model to keep her distance from the Wizard of Waverly Place actor as he is concerned that something might go wrong. An insider would then tell In Touch Weekly that after years of being pitted against each other, Selena and Hailey are finally on friendly terms. However, Justin is freaking out over them comparing notes since their pictures from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures' 2nd annual gala went viral. He then warned Hailey to keep her distance from Selena, despite calling a truce. As far as Justin is concerned, he believes all hell can break loose at any moment, which is only fair as he and Selena had a pretty messy breakup, and Justin's fans have been urging him to leave Hailey for some time because everybody's still stuck on his relationship with Selena Gomez. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8. The Weeknd. The Weeknd didn't seem to have the nicest things to say about Selena Gomez after the two broke up in October 2017 after 10 months of dating. But it's not really surprising since Selena did leave him to reconcile with her ex-boyfriend Justin Bieber as the two were spotted kissing less than a month later. Later, The Weeknd would even write a song called Call Out My Name, which he told the story of their relationship, and he seemingly threw shade at how quickly his ex moved on by singing, "I guess I was another pit stop till you made up your mind, you wasted my time." He then also appeared to take aim at Selena on several other songs from his other EP, which widely speculated to be about the breakup. On the song Try Me, he would sing "Don't mess with me, the way I kissed your scars, the way I fixed your heart, don't you mess with me babe," while his track Privilege would call out Selena's life when he sang "Enjoy your privileged life, cause I'm not gonna hold you through the night, we said our last goodbyes." The Weeknd never confirmed that the EP was about Selena, but he would tell Esquire that it was short because he had nothing else to say on it. Now, why anyone would ever want to leave The Weeknd for Justin Bieber is beyond me, but Selena's true colors showed when she did just that. Number 7. Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande and Selena Gomez have never really exactly been friendly with each other, and it all goes back to one person, Justin Bieber. After Selena and Justin officially broke up, Selena set it as her goal to ruin Justin's career, and she caused a lot of chaos in the process. So before Ariana became famous, she was actually this huge Justin Bieber fan, and she always supported him and defended him throughout her career. So after Justin was branded as the world's biggest a-hole thanks to what Selena was leaking to the press about him, aka him being a cheater, Ariana would then stand up for the singer and claim that he was actually a really nice person. But it seems like the girls really just couldn't stand each other because Selena Selena was always really jealous when it came to other girls being around Justin. And when Ariana was opening up for Justin on tour, Selena would end up fuming over the idea. And when Ariana was set to sit beside her during the KCAs, Ariana even moved her seat to sit somewhere else while Selena stayed in the same place. Number 6, Sofia Richie. Back in 2016, Selena made a comment about Sofia Richie's and Justin Bieber's relationship. Sofia would then weigh in on the drama and support her rumored boyfriend, Justin Bieber. In case you forgot, this is when Selena called out Justin Bieber for sharing back-to-back photos of Sofia and then threatened to make his Instagram private so people would stop hating on her. Selena would then write, "If you can't handle the hate, then stop posting pictures of your girlfriend, lol. It should be special between you two only. Don't be mad at your fans. They love you." Though Justin provided his own response, Sofia made sure to show her support for him by saying, "Justin is not shutting out his believers. He's thankful every day for y'all. Y'all got him here. He doesn't forget that, period. All love." Then Selena and Justin began this really big back and forth that the internet couldn't help but dive into. Number 5, Bella Hadid. Now, just when Selena started dating R&B singer The Weeknd, Bella Hadid would end up being hella livid because before Selena and The Weeknd got together, apparently Bella and him had plans to eventually reconcile. However, The Weeknd claimed that he was taking a break from his relationship with Bella so he could actually focus on his career, and he actually just ended up doing the exact opposite. And that's when he started talking to Selena Gomez, which actually resulted in a lot of tension between the two ladies because after The Weeknd left Bella, he pretty much jumped right into a relationship with Selena, and this really hurt Bella because she loved The Weeknd and thought that they would ultimately end up together. She was more just livid with Selena though because she was the only one standing in her way of getting back with her ex. And when the two started to date, Bella knew her relationship with him was officially over, and that really hurt her. Number 4, Chris Rock. In a display of shade that seemingly had no reason behind it, Chris Rock would very publicly diss Selena by posting a less than kind meme to his Twitter account back in June of 2016. At the time, the comedian would share a snap of Selena smiling and rocking a gold bodysuit while performing on stage alongside the caption, "When you buy your formation tickets on Craigslist." He then wrote alongside the meme, "This is true." Understandably, the tweet, which still remains on the actor's account today, didn't go too well with Selena fans as supporters then bombarded them and criticized them. And one fan even said, "When nobody will buy your stand-up comedy tickets, so you come out on Twitter to slander someone more successful than you." The shade was made all more confusing after it was pointed out that both Chris and Selena had actually gotten along pretty well a few years earlier as they were photographed together chatting on the red carpet at the 2010 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards when Gomez even sweetly embraced the comedian's daughters. Number 3, Stefano Gabbana. Stefano Gabbana back in June of 2018 wouldn't say the nicest things about Selena when she was on a social media break, and he went straight for the comments that surrounded the actor's looks. Just after a fashion account called The Catwalk Italia posted 5 photos of Selena in this stunning red dress, one of the snaps would show the star in a stunning floor-length red Dolce & Gabbana dress. The Italian account would then tag the brand on the snap. Then for some reason, the co-founder Dolce & Gabbana wasn't a fan of any look, nor was he a supporter, as he would comment on the photo, "She's so ugly." While Gomez fans slammed the designer in follow-up comments, he didn't seem so worried about the raft of the star's supporters as he simply wrote in response, Selena then ended up getting the last laugh when she was spotted at New York Fashion Week in September 2018 with the word ugly written in rhinestones on her hair. Number 2, Demi Lovato. So today, Demi has no beef with Selena Gomez. However, she has made it clear that she is no longer friends with the star that she used to be best friends with. Their falling out would allegedly be caused over personal struggles both had to face over the years, as Demi felt like Selena wasn't always there for her and that their friendship wasn't actually really real. While Demi has confirmed that she does have a lot of love for Selena, she just can't be friends with her at this time as she doesn't want to be reminded of her Disney days, as they made made her feel miserable and overworked. The two girls first became friends when they worked on Barney together, and later when they became teenagers, they started to drift apart. As Demi started to enter into this really big downward spiral, Selena would then start to distance herself from Demi as she entered into rehab facilities, and Demi started to feel like she was being abandoned by her best friend. While the two continued to have this really off and on friendship, both girls' personalities continued to clash, which leads you to wonder what's truly going on between them and what actually happened that made them hate each other. And coming in number 1 today, we have Lorde. So Lorde is another star who has spoken out about Selena Gomez, and this time it's because of her music. It's clear that the musician is not a fan of Selena's single Come and Get It, and while Lorde was speaking to the Rolling Stone in 2013, she would say, "I love pop music on a sonic level, but I'm a feminist, and the theme of Selena's song Come and Get It, when you're ready, come and get it from me. I'm sick of women being portrayed this way." Lorde would then be asked about her comments by MTV News, and she refused to back down by saying, "I have pretty strong morals in my opinion being in pop music, and I can't help but express those," which I think people appreciate. I mean, I don't think I can say anything that isn't backed up. Most of the times I will stand by things that I've said. As for what Selena had to say about the matter, well, she hit back in October 2013 in an interview with Flaunt, where she went after Lorde for claiming she's a feminist while tearing other women down by saying that's not feminism. Lorde is not supporting other women. That's my honest opinion. That's what I would say to her if I saw her. I actually covered her song in all of my shows that I've done so far. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue that. Coming in number 10, we have Olivia Wilde. Even before its release, the set of Don't Worry Darling was plagued with rumors of a feud between co-stars Olivia Wilde and Florence Pugh. While not a lot is known about what happened behind the closed doors, it hasn't stopped a serious amount of speculation from circulating online, with people trying to uncover the reasons behind the alleged feud with the cast on the set. Despite director Olivia Wilde shutting down the rumors of any disagreement between her cast members, reports have suggested that the rumors first began gaining attention when Florence didn't promote Don't Worry Darling, unlike her promotion for other projects she was on. Then there were rumors that were fueled with other reports suggesting that Florence was uncomfortable with Olivia's relationship with Harry Styles, as some sources claim that the pair were growing on set after the director split from Jason Sudeikis, and an insider would tell Page 6, "I can tell you a fact, that Flo seeing Olivia and Harry all over each other on the set didn't go down well, as Olivia was still with Jason when she first hooked up with Harry. Jason and the kids visited Olivia on the set in the beginning a few times, so I think this just made Florence feel a little uncomfortable." Number 9, Jason Sudeikis. Just as the drama on the set of Don't Worry Darling was taking off, Florence was set to make a cameo on an episode of Jason Sudeikis' show, Ted Lasso, but the scene was abruptly cut. The shocking claim would be made by a Twitter user who shared a photo of Florence on the set of the show that was believed to have been taken sometime in 2020. In the tweet, the user would say, "I've just learned that Florence had a cameo in Ted Lasso that got cut. The story has layers to it, people." At the same time, it would then be said that Florence also split from her boyfriend, Zach Braff, who she dated for 3 years, and he actually directed that episode, and this is why many people started to speculate that this could be the episode that Florence was meant to make a cameo appearance in, and Jason removed it because he was good friends with Zach. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in number 8, we have Harry Styles. While there has been much speculation about behind the scenes scandals to what actually happened on the set of Don't Worry Darling, little light has been shed on what sparked the sensational drama. However, it has been claimed that the leading lady Florence and on-screen lover Harry Styles shared an off-screen kiss during the filming, and the innocent smooch was to blame for all of the resulting uproar. A nanny who used to look after Olivia and her ex Jason Sudeikis' 2 children alleged that the actress complained to her then fiance that Harry and Florence were hooking up behind the scenes. Now, it's no lie that Harry and Florence had chemistry from the start, which translated incredibly well on screen. On one night, they had a bit of a snog and a lighthearted night of fun, but that was it. That's when Olivia started to spend more time with Harry, and it made Florence unhappy as the two women continued to battle it out. On the set, many speculated that this is why Florence didn't seem to promote the movie online like she did with other films she has starred in. Number 7, Zach Braff. It seems like Zach Braff and Florence Pugh got together after he gushed about her on Twitter after after he complimented Florence on her performance in Lady Macbeth. While fans have always been very critical of Florence and Zach's relationship due to their 21-year age gap, in a cover story with Harper Bazaar, Florence would call out the media for their coverage on her and Zach by saying, "Whenever I feel like the line has been crossed in my life, whether it's paparazzi taking private moments or moments that aren't even real, or gossip channels that encourage members of the public to share private moments of famous people walking down the street, I think it's incredibly wrong. I don't think that people, just because they have this job, that every aspect of their life should be watched and written about. We haven't signed up for a reality TV show." While the two broke up in 2022, Florence would also state that they were trying to do the whole separation thing without the whole world knowing, because it was a relationship that everybody had opinions on, and they felt like they would benefit from not having a million people tell them how happy they were not to see the couple together any longer. Number 6. Will Poulter. After Florence and Zach broke up, Florence would have to teach the world another lesson, and this time it was when she had to address the rumors that she broke up with Zach and moved on with her mid-summer co-star Will Poulter. After photos started to circulate that Will and Florence were on a holiday with friends in Ibiza, the media would be filled with speculation that Florence was no longer with Zach and that she moved on with her mid-summer co-star Will. Florence would then come out to address the rumors when she said, "This is getting a little silly now. No, Poulter and I are not dating. We went to the beach with our friends. We were about half a meter away from each other in every picture, but my friends have clearly and cleverly been cut out and framed out, so it looks otherwise." Florence would then go on to speak about how damaging the impact of these accusations can be, that she understands it is a job, but fabricating things does more damage than good. Number 5. Shia LaBeouf. There seems to be so much drama on the Don't Worry Darling drama that even Shia LaBeouf would be fired from the set because Olivia felt like his combative energy led to actress Florence Pugh to feel uncomfortable, and Olivia felt like she needed to protect Florence. And then text messages between Florence and Shia were released, and the exchange would show that there was never bad blood in the first place between the two. And Florence even offered the latter to vent about the drama. After the Midsummer star even expressed her confusion about the actor's concerns that she was scared of him and said, "That's sad. Where did you get me being scared of you from? Don't be silly. I'm sorry that you feel that way." Before Shia texted Olivia saying that he was leaving the film, he would inform Florence that he was leaving by saying the issues on the set are more than just schedule conflicts, by saying, "Seems clear we have bigger problems than dates. I will back out in the morning." Number 4. Mireille Yoon. In a statement to ET producer, Mireille Yoon wanted to express the absurd gossip surrounding the set of Don't Worry Darling once and for all. After Vulture reported that Olivia and Florence got into a screaming match on the set when they were filming back in January 2021. According to the outlet, Florence disdain stemmed from Olivia's alleged frequent disappearances with Styles. Another pointed out the connection reportedly came from the then new couple when they attended a wedding together, and this would come after Olivia had alleged a lecture with the cast and crew about following proper COVID protocols. Following the report, Mireille would say, "As crew, we avoided addressing the absurd gossip surrounding the movie we're so proud of, but feel the need to correct the anonymous sources who quoted in a recent article. Any allegations about unprofessional behavior on set of Don't Worry Darling are completely false." Mireille also went on to call Olivia an incredible leader and director, but didn't mention Florence whatsoever, which seemed a little fishy. Number 3. Chris Pine. Seems like Chris Pine was in a total mood at the Don't Worry Darling's Venice premiere. While the actor was a total vibe when he stepped onto the Venice Film Festival to celebrate the premiere of his new movie, he posed for photos alongside his co-stars. While Florence had skipped the presser in the morning, it seems like for the group photos, Chris would be placed in the middle of Olivia and Florence, and he didn't seem so happy doing it, as he was left looking dull, staring off into a distance, trying to fake a smile while he was dealing with the very tense drama of the two ladies' feud. Seems like the rest of the cast, like Chris, just had enough, and while he did go on to have a great time with Florence and Olivia when they were both alone, you could tell he wasn't really happy that he had to be close to the two women together, and that he just wanted the drama to be over. And to make sure tensions were slim that night, he also chose to sit in between Olivia and Harry. Number 2. Sydney Chan Chandler. While all eyes were on the Don't Worry Darling cast when they hit the red carpet at the Venice Film Festival, September 5th for the film's world premiere, fans and critics alike discussed whether or not Florence and Olivia would interact with each other. However, what people didn't notice was that Sydney Chandler looked about out of it as she refused to look at any of the cast members as they posed for group shots as she stood in the middle of Harry and Olivia. Sydney would be seen looking off into a distance, and it looked like she was saying in her head, just pose so they can get enough photos and I can leave this really awkward moment. Seems like everyone was on edge at the film festival because none of them really knew what to expect when it came to all the endless tabloid gossip and all the noise that they were talking about the feud that happened between Olivia and Florence. And it's understandable why Sydney would be so uncomfortable with being in the same room as the two ladies and why she was so on edge, because she probably thought Florence and Olivia were gonna lose it on each other, and Sydney could sense it and just went into another place in her head. Number 1. Kiki Layne. After Don't Worry Darling was released, Kiki Layne would address the prominent remark about her role in the movie just 2 days after it was released. With a surprising combination of acknowledgement and dissent, the actress would state on her Instagram how she, along with one of her other co-stars, had gotten very little screen time after being cut from most of the movie. After the movie premiered, Kiki would say the best thing about hashtag Don't Worry Darling, that I was lucky enough to meet Ariel Stachel. She then went on to shade the rest of the cast and crew by saying they cut us from the movie, but we are thriving in real life. Said that Kiki was set to have a couple of scenes with Florence, with Ariel, and they were just cut from the movie with no notice. At the end of the day, Kiki would shake it off and say she didn't care because she got her check, she got her man, and that she was thriving despite the major disappointment. At number 10, we have Olivia Wilde. Olivia has stated that like any relationship that ends, it doesn't just happen overnight. Unfortunately for Jason, the two have had bumpy roads and it officially dissolved the relationship. A nanny to the couple, however, would later reveal that the actor was so distraught by his breakup with Olivia that he allegedly threw himself in front of a car to prevent her from leaving. Before the incident occurred, Olivia was trying to leave to see her new boyfriend, Harry Styles. However, it said that Jason was chasing her around the house and she could be heard saying, "Jason, I'm scared of you." Jason responded by saying, "If you're so scared of me, why are you leaving your kids with me?" Jason would then go outside and lay under Olivia's car to prevent her from leaving. The two would later come out and say that the rumors aren't true, but the nanny would reveal more later, which would make you question if the two stars were telling the truth or not. At number 9, the nanny. It's said that Jason allegedly threw his nanny out of his house after he was filled with rage over Olivia Wilde's new relationship with Harry Styles. The former employee claimed in an interview with Daily Mail she received a text message from Jason saying, "You're going to get your stuff and get out. Why are you sending these messages to her?" The woman then claimed she responded by telling the star he had been drinking and she could tell he was under the influence and that she was afraid of him. A rep for Olivia would claim that the woman chose to resign and that her claims were false. The nanny, however, told Daily Mail that she did have plans to quit but offered to work for the couple for another 6 months until they found a replacement. However, after the incident took place, the nanny packed her bags and headed to Rosewood London Hotel. When she was asked about a severance pay, she said she was given nothing at all. The whole experience also made her question her career as a nanny, and she said she always loved her career and how they treated her definitely upset her. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Jennifer Aniston. After Olivia and Jason first confirmed their split, Jennifer Aniston knew there was something concerning going on with the star. So being the good friend we all know her to be, she made sure Jason had a shoulder to lean on. If anyone knows what it's like to be humiliated romantically but overcome all the obstacles and come out stronger, it's her. A source confirmed that Jennifer became a rock to Jason throughout this nightmare, and Jennifer would talk and text to Jason every day to make sure the star was well, and she was concerned about the actor's mental state following some pretty serious allegations made by the nanny. She even shared her coping strategies such as meditation, yoga, to help the star overcome his strong emotions with anger and sadness. Honestly, Jennifer Aniston is an absolute angel, and I'm glad Jason had at least one friend like her to help him get through this messy split. At number 7, we have Harry Styles. Now, with everything going on, you're probably wondering how Harry Styles feels about the whole ordeal? Well, it seems like Harry is doing his best to stay out of this messy divorce, and I don't blame him. With Jason coming out to say Olivia left him for Harry, this is definitely a situation you want to avoid answering, as one bad move can definitely label you as a homewrecker, and that's definitely something the pop star will want to avoid. Harry has taken the time not to reach out to Jason at any point, mainly because he feels like it isn't his place to interfere. With Olivia denying she left Jason for Harry and Jason saying she did, it makes you wonder who's really telling the truth. So what do you think? And let me know in the comments below. At number 6, we have Keely Hazel. Being first linked back in 2021, Jason and Keely have split just nearly after 1 year of dating. The two have been close friends since they first met while filming Horrible Bosses 2. A source claims that Jason wasn't ready for anything serious as he was still processing his split from his fiancée Olivia. However, with Keely being ready to get their relationship to the next level, Jason was still devastated over his split with the mother of his children. However, he did feel safe and relaxed with her, and the pair did truly enjoy each other's company. Since the beginning, they were friends and they didn't know how long their relationship would last, because Jason has stated over and over again he isn't looking for anything serious anytime soon. While Keely was ready to cozy up with Jason, he just was looking for a good time, which ultimately led to some problems within their relationship and may have been the reason for their split. At number 5, we have Don Cheadle. Now, Jason had a lot to say during his acceptance speech for Best Performance by an Actor in the television series for his role on Ted Lasso. Now, the actor began to struggle with his words after he found out he won the award. Jason would go on in a long speech that he would thank his family and his co-stars. Now, the humble actor would then go on to say that he rejects being the best actor because in his opinion, the best actor is the person you are acting with, and that's why he had to shout out all of the people he got to act with on the show. Now, at this point, Don started to give Jason the wrap-up speech. As Jason was continuing to talk while the fellow nominees started to laugh, Jason would acknowledge that Don was right and he needed to wrap this puppy up. Now, I know if I ever won a huge award, I wouldn't even know what to say, and I would probably just stand there and do the classic smile and wave energy before awkwardly leaving. So luckily for Jason, Don was there to help him wrap it up before things got a little too messy. At number 4, we have Ice Cube. So Ice Cube once almost got Jason into trouble back in 6th grade. On an appearance for the Late Late Show with James Corden and Ice Cube, Jason explained that he used to write lyrics and memorize them by writing them down. When Jason was back in 6th grade, he loved Ice Cube, so to learn his song, he wrote it down and memorized the lyrics. Well, Jason wouldn't leave out any words. So the night before class one day, he decided to write down all the lyrics to Gangster Gangster. Now, the next day, Jason would go to class and he was showing the lyrics with a centerfold from an adult magazine to 8 other boys in his class. However, when his teacher, Miss Huffy, came in, she took the paper away and handed the boys their homework before leaving the room. Now, one of Jason's friends decided to scribble on a piece of paper and swap the confiscated paper out before shoving it into his sock, and when the teacher came back and asked where the paper was, no one knew where it went. His friend then started freaking out about it, and then the group of boys got sent to the office. Now, the principal was really disturbed because the teacher was telling her the lyrics were violent, and then the boys got busted and sentenced to detention. At number 3, we have Florence Pugh. Florence was allegedly set to make a cameo in an episode of Jason's show Ted Lasso, but then the scene got cut out. The claim was made after a Twitter user who shared the photo of Florence on the set of the show. While the two were having problems on the set of Don't Worry Darling, one user pointed out that they believed the cut cameo was originally filmed in 2020 for the 2nd episode of Ted Lasso's 1st season. Now, it's said that Florence's ex she dated for 3 years before the pair split broke up earlier that year, and he was actually a director on the set, and that could be the reason her cameo was taken out. However, with Olivia and Jason being engaged at the time of their feud, it also could have been the reason why her cameo disappeared from the show. Either way, in the film industry, it's not uncommon for things to get cut, and the actor still got paid for their time on set. At number 2, we have Kay Cannon. So before Jason was engaged to Olivia, he was once married to Kay Cannon. Now, Jason was married to the screenwriter and producer Kay Cannon for 4 years before separating in 2008. However, for the couple, their careers always came first, and this ultimately led to the destruction of their marriage. Jason would later say while he was married to Kay, he had to give up 2 things he loved the most while he took a writing job for the show. He had to give up performing and living with his wife. Ultimately, Jason chose his career over his wife and chose to go on the show, and the two shortly split after. Now, Jason has no noted that he did have a sign it was over before he went on the show, but the show just finalized things. With both having really busy lifestyles and big dreams, it makes a lot of sense why the two would split and would still continue to support each other as friends. At number 1, we have Chris Rock. It's said that Chris Rock one time hijacked Jason's Saturday Night Live audition. When Jason first auditioned for the iconic sketch comedy show, Chris Rock would go on to steal his thunder. Jason was backstage calming his nerves before he went on set, and all of a sudden, Jeff Ross and Chris Rock entered the backstage. Now, at the beginning, he just thought Chris and Jeff were there to see the new talent. Unfortunately, Chris wasn't there to watch, but rather to perform. Now, Chris is standing right beside Jason, and Jason puts his drink down to head to the stage, and Chris goes, "Hey man, was this your big shot?" And Jason was like, kinda. And then he went on to say, "Sorry." Immediately after the interaction, an announcer welcomed Chris Rock to the stage. Now, Jason was a little hurt by the experience. However, before Chris left the building, he wished the comedian good luck and told him that the crowd loves original thought.
First up, Nicola Peltz. Brooklyn Beckham's new bride, Nicola Peltz, has apparently butted heads with Victoria Beckham, claiming she is overbearing. It was reported that Victoria planned to help Brooklyn plan his wedding, and at first Nicola was overjoyed with the offer. However, months later, she changed her mind and didn't want Victoria making decisions on her behalf anymore. This switch didn't sit right with Victoria, because Victoria loves to be in control, especially when it has to do with her kids. A source said, quote, "Posh has been incredibly generous with her time and efforts. She's worked up sketches for a series of gowns for Nicola to help her to pick from. It would be a total dream to dress her." But Victoria had to find out through friends that Nicola does not want her involved with the wedding dress selection. The source continued, quote, "Nicola is grateful, but she wants to go with an up-and-coming designer with a more modern edge. Nicola and Posh love each other, of course, but it's not always smooth sailing. We're talking about two very big personalities, fiercely fashionable ones at that. It's hard to tell if there really is tension or if tabloids are just trying to take advantage of the situation. Leading up to the wedding, Brooklyn and Nicola have been very quiet about their plans. However, it's expected that Victoria will have a key role in the big day, especially since the wedding was rumored to have cost over $3 million, but we'll get into that later. Next, Chloe Grace Moretz. Before Brooklyn was married to Nicola Peltz, he was in an off and on again relationship with Chloe Grace Moretz, and it was rumored that he cheated on her in the end. In April of 2018, Beckham was spotted kissing model Lexi Wood in Los Angeles, before he or Chloe had announced if they were broken up. Of course, there's a chance the couple had ended things privately and just didn't want to share it, but there's another chance that they had not discussed where their relationship was going, and Brooklyn just started seeing someone else without talking to Chloe about it. Moretz told the Sunday Times, quote, "Breakups are hard across the board, but when every verified account on Twitter posts something about me, I get tagged, and every major publication is verified, so anytime they post something about a certain relationship, it pops up on my phone, which is how I find out about 90% of things." So clearly she found out about this new fling online, which is something you would not wish on your worst enemy. A few days after these paparazzi photos were leaked, Chloe seemed to clap back by posting a screenshot of Cardi B's song Be Careful, which is a song about Offset's infidelity. Moretz also liked a social media post that included a picture of herself with her middle finger up, aimed at Beckham. So clearly she was angry and wanted the world to know. Chloe confirmed their relationship in a 2016 episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen by saying, quote, "We're in a relationship. It's fine, it's no biggie. The more I don't make it serious, the more people don't care, so yes, we're in a relationship." But after those photos of him kissing another girl leaked, they were over for good. Rebecca Luz. One of many women that David Beckham has allegedly had an affair with was his assistant, Rebecca Luz. The rumor first started in 2004 when he was spotted with a random woman in a Madrid nightclub. The woman was later identified as assistant Rebecca Luz. Sources then came forward and alleged that Luz and Beckham were very intimate at this club, and it was assumed that they were sleeping together. They also reported the two exchanged racy texts. The story claimed that Victoria contacted this assistant, warning her to stay away. After the story turned into madness, Luz confessed everything to Sky News, saying, quote, "I was getting a few innuendos, but I kept saying, no, he doesn't fancy you. Adding, quote, I would always say to myself, don't risk your job. And I knew there was a huge risk involved if I got involved with this man." But Luz admitted that they slept together after they connected following a night out with friends. Luz also claimed that there was problems in his marriage at the time. The Beckhams clapped back, claiming it was all made up and nothing intimate was happening between them. David also released a statement denying the claims, saying, quote, "The simple truth is that I am very happily married. I have a wonderful wife and two very special kids. There's nothing any third party can do to change these facts." The couple also threatened Luz with legal action, but since this is the first of many cheating rumors, there could be some truth to it. Sarah Marbeck. Shortly after the Lose affair rumors came to light, yet another woman came forward exposing her relationship with Beckham. This woman named Sarah Marbeck was a Malaysian-born Australian model. Marbeck told news outlets, quote, "He said he felt he'd been hit by a sledgehammer from the first time he saw me." Marbeck claimed that she exchanged explicit text messages with Beckham for years, but David called the story absurd and unsubstantiated. Victoria told The Sun at the time, quote, "We have been through a lot worse than this, and we're definitely going to get through this." Marbeck claimed that she had a 9-month affair with Beckham after meeting him at a party in Singapore in 2001. At the time, she released a statement saying, quote, "The reason I decided to go public with the details of my relationship with David Beckham is because for 2 years my life was on hold while I waited for him. He said he loved me and I slept with the phone by my bed waiting for it to ring. Finally I accepted that my relationship with Beckham was over and I decided to move forward with my life. But in that time my life changed forever and there's no way back for me." Next up, Charlotte Meredith. Victoria Beckham is allegedly in a feud with David Beckham's stepsister, Charlotte Meredith, and has been for years now. Apparently it all started in 2019 when Victoria did not invite Charlotte to Harper's christening. Of course, it was speculated these were only rumors until the marriage between Ted Beckham and Hillary Meredith took place, and it was clear there was some touching with Victoria. A source said, quote, "Victoria didn't want to hang around and they left as soon as they could. Charlotte was hoping for some bonding time at the wedding, but Victoria avoided her like the plague. The thing that sealed the deal was a photo taken of David with his dad, stepmom, and stepsister. The missing link in this photo is Victoria, who we assumed did not want to be included. I guess we'll never know the reason why she wasn't invited to Harper's christening, but clearly it's made a huge impact on the dynamic of the family." Social media. If you hadn't already heard, Brooklyn and his new wife, Nicola Peltz, got married this weekend in a lavish ceremony. And when I say lavish, I mean uber lavish. Peltz comes from a lot of money, and her family are billionaires along with the Beckham's fortune, so it makes sense a lot of money would be spent. But after it was reported that the couple and their family spent $3.5 million on this insane wedding, social media users became very angry, claiming the money could have been spent in many other ways, like helping Ukrainians fleeing war. It's been reported that the bride's parents, Nelson and Claudia, footed the cost of the entire thing, because David and Victoria's $494 million fortune is pretty much nothing compared to Nicola Peltz's $1.6 billion family fortune. The wedding took place at the Peltz's Miami mansion. After the event, Twitter users flocked to share their disdain. One person tweeted, quote, "Something grotesque about this wedding. Brooklyn has no job, barely 20 years old, wasting all his money." Another said, quote, "Why David and Posh Beckham are spending $103 million when America and the whole world are having trouble with money. For one, his older son's wedding, not in the UK. They should have given that money to save the children of the world." Some Twitter users even pointed out that Peltz gained his massive fortune through fast food joints like Wendy's and Arby's, and since he is so insanely rich, he clearly has enough money to give essential fast food workers a raise.
Number 10. Taylor Swift. This beef began in 2011 during Katy Perry's California Dream World Tour. It was a 2-year tour, and during that time, Katy worked with the same dance crew every show. They got to know the ins and outs of the show to make it as smooth and fun as possible. Following the end of the tour, several of Katy's dancers auditioned to join Taylor Swift for her upcoming tour, and they were soon working with another pop icon. After just 6 months, however, Katy called up the few dancers who had joined Taylor and asked them to return for a gig with her instead. Naturally, they quickly agreed to join, and Taylor was out 3 dancers. Apparently, they weren't actually doing much dancing on the tour, and they were just really bored with the project, so they heel-clicked at the opportunity to do more. Taylor broke out in interviews claiming Perry intended to sabotage her tour by hiring people from under her nose. Several Swifties claim that she wrote bad blood about Perry, and if that's the case, well, we have been warned, and in such a catchy way. Number 9. Lady Gaga. On Katy Perry's Prismatic World Tour, Lady Gaga couldn't help but notice a slight similarity between the two, specifically the inclusion of a mechanical horse in Katy's show. On the tour, Katy would come out on stage with green hair riding a mechanical horse, which similarly Lady Gaga rode a mechanical horse on the red carpet on the American Music Awards ceremony the year prior. She took to Twitter to call out Perry, saying, "Well, I guess green hair and mechanical horses are like a thing now." And it seemed that these two did not like being compared to each other, Gaga especially. In an interview with Billboard, Gaga said that she didn't know what the F all she had to do with Katy Perry. Their music is so different, and she basically fits into her own category. Whether it was to prove a point or to take the attention away from Perry, Gaga proved her uniqueness by giving a highly controversial performance at that year's South by Southwest festival. During her performance, now this is just a quick warning for anyone who is squeamish, please skip ahead like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. Gaga had a vomit artist continuously throw up on her during the show, while she continued singing. That is just gnarly. Katie, if you've upset someone to the point of doing that on stage, maybe look inward. Number 8. Miley Cyrus. Miley and Perry's relationship is the textbook definition of the term frenemies, and it's only gotten worse over the years. Their friendship began in 2008 when Katie claimed that her song I Kissed a Girl was about the Hannah Montana star, and even invited her to be Katie's special guest at that year's Video Music Awards. Recently, Perry decided that she wanted to go see Miley in concert, and Miley took advantage of that situation to spark some buzz on social media. Katie was sitting in the front row, and Miley came over and took the opportunity to plant one on her frenemy. Seemingly playful at first, however, Cyrus attempted to involve her tongue in the moment, and Perry was not having it. She later said in an interview that she had to pull away from Miley as fast as possible because Miley's tongue is infamous. Who knows where it's been? Well, Miley took to Twitter to respond saying, "Girl, if you're worried about where tongues have been, it's a good thing your ex-boo is your ex. Cause we all know where that tongue has been." This is of course in reference to singer and ex-boyfriend John Mayer, who has been romantically involved with like most of Hollywood. But was it Miley trying to warn us about Perry, or does her tongue have a mind of its own? Who knows? Number 7. Calvin Harris. Calvin is a Scottish DJ, record producer, and singer-songwriter. His debut studio album, I Created Disco, was released in 2007, and he's made waves in the music business ever since. Calvin was all set up to open for Katie back in 2011 for her California Dream Tour, but he dropped out at the last minute, blaming the tour's production team. Apparently, her team had suddenly moved the goalposts, and he was to appear on stage without production. Now, moving the goalpost is a term meaning change something last minute, and this change meant that Calvin would be on a tiny portion of the stage alone for 30 minutes, and it made no sense for him to show up for such a minimal role. Now, even though his claims weren't aimed towards Katie herself, she definitely took it personally and decided to throw some shade right back at the DJ. She posted several lists of artists opening for her tour that apparently had no problem with the last minute changes. She ended one tweet with, "It's fine, I'm used to you canceling on me. It's becoming your staple." Apparently he had to cancel last minute for a concert prior to that one, only that time it was due to a scheduling conflict, so like, hey, take it easy, Katie. Clearly Calvin knows better than to perform for Perry. He canceled twice. He's clearly trying to tell us something. Number 6. Chief Keef. Hip-hop artist Chief Keef released his breakout hit I Hate Being Sober in 2012, featuring Wiz Khalifa and 50 Cent. Keef was just shy of 18 at the time, so his song being so popular at such a young age was a massive deal. But not to Katy Perry. In fact, Katy made it a point to let her fans know that she wasn't into the song by going on Twitter and letting everyone know that the lyrics, quote, made her have serious doubt for the world. According to the news outlet Billboard, Keef took serious offense to her tweets and decided the most appropriate reaction was to tweet a bunch of nasty things in response, and I will be paraphrasing this of course. He tweeted, "Dat snitch Katy Perry can suck the skin off my duck, I'll smack the poo-poo out of her." He also claimed that Katy's name would surely be popping up in his music in the near future. Katy tried to take back her tweets, claiming that she didn't know it was Keef's song. Hey, Katie, you know that if you're listening to a song at any point on anything, the artist's name is like almost always directly beneath the play button. It's not like I listen to Hot and Cold and I'm like, oh, who is this? I have no idea. Keef shared Katie's apology, but did not respond to it. He did, however, keep his promise and worked Katie into his song, Haha. Unfortunately, his rhymes were not as harsh as his tweets. Like, come on Twitter, the music industry is clamping down harder on swear words than you. Number 5. Lily Allen. Lily Allen is a British pop star and was not very pleased when Katy Perry described herself as a skinnier version of Allen. According to Lily, their first meeting was frosty, and she shot back at Katy for fat shaming her by taking digs at her music, claiming Katy Perry was discovered because of Allen. Katy was signed by her label in America, as they needed to find something controversial and kooky. Allen went on to call Katy out for not writing her own music and called the lyrics that she does use crass. Katie addressed the feud in an interview with Us Weekly where she fake apologized by making light of her comments. She called what she said a joke and claimed that she was just trying to be funny. She's quoted as saying, "Comedians are not necessarily to be taken super seriously. Hey, last time I checked, you were a pop star and not John Mulaney." The tweets were offensive and rude, and Lily's reactions were handled very well. Katie needs to get a filter or something, cause she seriously can't seem to keep her negative thoughts inside of her head like the rest of us. Number 4, Bo Burnham. Comedian Bo Burnham is much more than your average stand-up comedian. Bo is a lyrical genius, being able to make us laugh and cry with the simple click of the next button. In Bo's Netflix special Make Happy, he plays a song called End Yourself, where he refers to Katy Perry several times. His hatred towards the pop star is vague at first, but he goes on to sing, "If you search for moral wisdom in Katy Perry lyrics, then end yourself." In an interview with Rolling Stones, Burnham expressed why celebrities are often the inspiration for his lyrics. He said that it was him trying to advocate on behalf of the audience. "These people act like they're somehow better humans, and we've become filled with joy when they get on late shows and act like human beings, and it's just like, who cares?" Yeah, who cares about Katie and her dark horse? Yeah, you're right, you go Bo, you go Bo. Number 3, Ruby Rose. A few years ago, Katy Perry went on Saturday Night Live with a kid in a backpack and performed Swish Swish Live for the first time. The song was pretty popular and it introduced the world to flossing. So I guess that's Katie's contribution to society. When first released, she was quick to say that the song was not about anyone in particular, but Katie's fans were convinced that it was a response to Taylor Swift's song Bad Blood, which is 100% about Katy Perry. Actor Ruby Rose, who you may know from the series Orange is the New Black, is a part of Taylor's inner squad and took to Twitter to defend her friend, apparently forgetting that Bad Blood even existed. She tweeted, "Purposeful poop to bomb a petite, to a sloppy mess of writing over the top of Fukunaga. Stop trying to make it fetch happen." What? What? Can someone get Tom Hanks from the Da Vinci Code in here? Because I have no idea what I just said. Anyone who isn't Katy Perry would be just as confused, but apparently to Katy herself, these tweets were like a dagger to her heart. Oh, it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. Now let's decode, shall we? In Perry's song, Chained to the Rhythm, she was quoted as saying she hoped it would start a trend of purposeful pop, aka the purposeful poop part. The second part refers to the song Bon Appetit, which was received poorly by fans and critics, and of course, the last part is a Mean Girls reference for some reason, but leave that beautiful movie out of this, Ruby. Ruby took back the cryptic tweets not long after posting them, but her message was clear. Okay, well not really, but we figured it out. Number 2, Russell Brand. What many people may not know is that Russell Brand was actually married to Katy Perry for a short time. During their brief marriage though, Russell recounts being uncomfortable for a majority of their public outings. He's quoted as saying, "I'm associated with the very thing I detest. Vapid, precocious, plastic, constructed, mindless celebrity. People are like, oh, who's that guy? And that guy is married to Katy Perry." Eventually the pair decided to get a divorce. Okay, well Russell decided that he wanted to get a divorce and apparently notified Katy about it over text. After they split, Perry wound up in Russell's stand-up act on a regular basis. He compared his love life with Perry to that of a monk's. He said, "When you're a monk, you're not allowed to make love with anyone. If you're married, you can, but only with one person. That's one more than monks. That's not that different." According to Katy, she hasn't actually spoken to Russell since their split, but she totally should, right? If someone was making fun of me on stage without my knowledge or permission, I'd find out who's doing it and I'd ask them to please stop. Russell is only being given a stronger platform for himself to warn us about Katy and her plastic persona, so maybe hop on that one, Miss Perry. And number 1, American Idol. Recently, Katy Perry took to social media to announce that she wants to quit the successful singing competition American Idol after 6 years over fears that she's being thrown under the bus by producers who edit the show to make her seem like the nasty judge. Katy has faced a slew of controversy and scandal over this current season of American Idol, and it seems like it's all becoming just too much for her. For those who don't know, on the recent season of American Idol, Katy Perry had an interesting reaction to a contestant revealing that she was a mother of 3 and much older than she looked. Katy stood up out of her chair and almost laid on the judge's table. The contestant Sarah Beth joked that if Katy laid on the table that she would die, and Katy responded with, "Honey, you've been laying on the table too much." That's just so mean. At At first everyone laughed at this, seemed like it was all good fun, but following her audition, Sarah announced that she would be going back to California to be with her family, claiming that she just wasn't cut out for show business. But later, she took to Twitter to call Perry out for the joke, which was both mom shaming and something else shaming. I can't say the S word on YouTube. While this was a one-time incident, Katie has been known to be shady during her time as a judge, and her comments aren't always as helpful as I'm sure they're meant to be, so it's not really hard to make her seem like the bad judge.
Starting off this countdown, we have Charlie Sheen. Oh boy! Over the years, Charlie Sheen has done some pretty wild and highly controversial things. Let's take a look at some of these things, shall we? In 2014, Sheen was getting treatment for an abscess on his tooth. Apparently though, during this treatment, he freaked out at the dental technician, hit them, and then pulled a knife on the dentist. His excuse? He was high on which doesn't make that any better. And of course, we have the huge divorce scandal with Denise Richards. Denise shed light on just how bad it was with Sheen. There were 17 pages worth of allegations, including him being violent and physical with her on a number of occasions. So this, among a huge list of other scandals, made a lot of people not like him. Plus, rumor has it that he slept with over 5,000 different women. So that in itself gives him a pretty bad reputation. 5,000. Whew. In our 9th spot, we have Tiger Woods. When news broke that Tiger Woods was cheating on his wife, it completely destroyed his career. Soon he lost almost all of his sponsors and his reputation was tarnished. He went from the world's #1 ranked golfer and almost lost it all. It all started in 2009 when Woods crashed his Cadillac outside of his Florida mansion. Then apparently his wife, in a rage, used 2 golf clubs to break the rear windows of the vehicle because she found out that he was cheating on her. Woods was all like, no, she actually smashed the window to save me from the vehicle. But of course, that wasn't the case, and people began to wonder what was up between the two. That's when US Weekly published a report that Woods had an affair. Shortly after, dozens of women came forward saying that they too had a relationship with Tiger Woods. Honestly, in 2009, this was one of, if not the biggest scandal of the year. I remember everyone was all like, ooh, Tiger Woods, I don't trust him, he's a cheater. But it seems like they have moved on from all that and they're letting him get back to golf. Moving on, at number 8 we have Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan was one of my favorite actors as a kid. Like, hello? Parent Trap, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Mean Girls? She was in so many iconic movies. But sadly, the fame and fortune took a toll on Lohan. In 2007, she was arrested for drinking and driving. She went to rehab, and 2 weeks later she was arrested again. This time for possession of another DUI and for driving with a suspended license. This was just the beginning of Lohan's downfall. Over the years, she struggled with her drug and alcohol addictions. It really took over her life and ruined her career. And apparently when she did try to get back into acting, she was a complete diva on set and wouldn't want to leave her trailer to film the scenes. I really wish things would have been different for her. In our 7th spot, we have Lady Gaga. I remember when Lady Gaga first rose to fame, people were so weirded out by her. Her songs were hella catchy, but people weren't too fond of her crazy outfits or unusual music videos. She received so much backlash for wearing that meat dress at the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards. Also, remember when she hatched out of an egg, or that time she covered herself with fake blood on stage during a 2009 VMA performance? Because Gaga pushed the boundaries, people were not a fan, and immediately they labeled her as someone who should not be trusted. Nowadays, things are different though. Her award-winning performance in A Star Is Born made people see just how talented and down-to-earth she really is. Also, can we talk about that movie real quick, because I bawled. I bawled. I can't get over it. Moving on, at number 6 we have the Kardashians. You either really love them or you really hate them. Over the years, the family has had their fair share of scandals. From Kylie's recent swimsuit scandal to Kim and Kanye drama to denying getting work done, you name it. Sure, they might be entertaining to some, but to others they are bad role models and are setting the wrong example for kids. But if you are a fan, let me know in the comments below, which Kardashian is your favorite and why is it Kylie? I feel like everyone just likes her. No shade. She's cool. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Bob Saget. Are you a fan of Full House? Then you probably know Bob Saget as Danny Turner in the show. Well, a lot of rumors have been going around about Bob and saying that he was inappropriate to the Olsen twins when they were on the show. First off, he admitted to being inappropriate with the Michelle stand-in, which was a real-life Michelle-sized doll that they would use to prepare for the scenes when Mary-Kate or Ashley weren't available for practice. He would get handsy with the doll and do disturbing things with it. The worst is what was said about him during the Comedy Central roast. A lot of the comedians made jokes about Bob taking advantage of the twins while on set. One joke talks about how Bob was only interested in the girls until they turned 21. But that is nothing compared to how dark and disgusting the other jokes were. Although they are jokes, it makes you wonder if there's any truth behind them. In our 4th spot, we have Marilyn Manson. Antichrist superstar Marilyn Manson has done some highly controversial things over the years, like engaging in self-harm on stage during one of his concerts. In 1995, he took a broken beer bottle and plunged it into his chest and then dragged it across his skin, wounding himself and leaving a permanent scar. He also got arrested at a Jacksonville, Florida concert for using adult toys publicly and then urinating on the crowd. Or how about the time he went grave digging and took human skeletal remains? He then took it back to his hotel and put the bones in a pipe and smoked it. I mean, that's just some of the many dark and messed up things that Manson has done. The list is very lengthy. In our 3rd spot, we have Bill Cosby. For years, there were allegations of Bill Cosby taking advantage of women. Then in 2014, comedian Hannibal Buress made a joke in his stand-up routine about Bill Cosby and all of this.
That shit is upsetting. If you didn't know about it, trust me. When you leave here, Google Bill Cosby.
The joke went viral and it allowed dozens of women to come forward and say that they were victims. By 2015, there were 35 women who came forward. As years went on, the number increased to more than 60 women. What's crazy is that The Cleveland Show and Family Guy all made jokes about Bill Cosby and what he was doing to women years ago. This was years before the situation came to light. So people were out here warning everyone about Bill for years. In our 2nd spot, we have Kevin Spacey. Over the years, a number of men have come forward claiming that Kevin Spacey tried to make advancements on them or that he had taken advantage of them. It started in 2017 when Anthony Rapp claimed that when he was 14, Spacey made a sexual advancement towards him. It didn't take long for other actors to come forward with similar accusations. But it seems like people in Hollywood knew about Spacey years before the allegations came forward. In 2005, Family Guy made a joke about Spacey. In a season 4 episode, as a dare, Stewie runs naked through a mall, saying, "Help, I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement." In 2017, when Anthony came forward, one of Family Guy's showrunners got questioned, and he admitted, and I quote, that there have always been rumors out there about him. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Harvey Weinstein. Years before Harvey Weinstein was exposed, a number of celebrities tried to warn us about him. Let's take a look at this interview with Courtney Love from 2005. While on a red carpet event for the Pamela Anderson Comedy Central roast, Love was asked if she had any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood. She said, and I quote, "If Harvey Weinstein invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons Hotel, don't go."
Harvey Weinstein invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons Hotel.
After saying this, Love apparently got eternally banned from CAA, Creative Artist Agency. But wait, there's more! Elijah Woods was another celebrity who tried to warn everyone about Weinstein, and then he got blacklisted for doing so. He said that as a child he was never allowed to go to the Hollywood parties because people of power would take advantage of the young stars there. He said, and I quote, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey." But no one listened to him. He tried to expose them and stop these disgusting things from happening. Instead, he got boycotted by major studios because of this.
At number 10, Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of the Kardashian sisters and also seems to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train. And that's all on top of filming their new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one one woman do all that by herself. She pays people to do it for her, duh. Kardashian has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from her at all times. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, apparently she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she has had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. At number 9, Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a different grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. One time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to treat people, she berated the nanny, telling her she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because it makes sense to blame the woman you're paying to raise your kid instead of the kid herself to prevent future incidents. At number 8, toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. I'm not sure Forbes knows what self-made means, but this collaboration would allow Jenner's brand, previously only available online and at pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000+ stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. Many employees at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products have been reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. I know they say beauty is pain, but I don't think this is what they meant. At number 7, Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie Jenner's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when Valero was interning as a personal assistant for Kris Jenner. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager and soon after became her personal assistant. Victoria and Jenner became very close over the years, and she was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter Stormi. You would think with being so close to the family, it would be through thick and thin, right? Well, all good things must come to an end as Victoria quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had quit to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being around that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life. Booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this is stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie even having Victoria pull out a stool and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as soon as possible. At number 6, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artists, Samuel Rhoda, with the post redirecting fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asked to donate money to cover his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman who got a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women list was asking her fans to donate some of their money. Why would Kylie herself not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't know each other on a personal level. She had worked with him a few years prior and thought he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money to most of us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. Something tells me the surgery would be a lot more than that. This is just another instance proving Kylie is the worst, because I know she would drop more than that on a purse. At number 5, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claimed that Kardashian failed to pay them overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks. The employees also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. Then, when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim argued that she couldn't be held responsible because most of her employees were apparently hired and paid through third-party companies, meaning Kim herself was technically not their direct employer and therefore cannot be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, Kardashian would have used her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff, and maybe she wouldn't have gotten sued by them. At number 4, Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and were officially married in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye's mental health was slowly slipping. He began posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets, as well as constantly sharing his political views and publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting SNL in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson while still married to Kanye. We'll cover their side in another entry. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show and seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently, only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. Following their divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly try to help Ye understand why his views and words were wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan and for Kanye. At number 3, they don't pay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait the family shares as a unit. They don't pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses including gas, food, rent. Everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on set paydays, meaning you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. At number 2, paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on a reality show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensation to Jenner, she responded with, "The company doesn't really have a budget right now, so we're going to have to pay you in exposure." Like, hey, that's cool, but you can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner, nor is it a currency accepted at most gas stations or banks. And by exposure, she meant Andre's name being in a small print underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take that exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. And at number 1, lied about their wealth. Oh, not enough proof for ya? Well, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. While it turns out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. This was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought. As it was uncovered, Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for the company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for the public. Mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom.
Coming at number 10 today, we have John Oliver. It seems like now that Meghan Markle and Harry have come out to speak their truth in their new documentary series, Meghan and Harry, a chillingly accurate clip of John Oliver warning Meghan Markle has started to resurface again. Back in 2018, Stephen Colbert would be left feeling slightly surprised when John Oliver wasn't excited about the then upcoming royal wedding between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. And 5 years later, the video is actually starting to make a lot of sense. Following the CBS special, an old late night show clip featuring John giving Meghan a persistent warning by saying, "I would not blame her if she pulled out at last minute. I don't think you need to just see the pilot episode of The Crown to get a basic sense that she might be marrying into a family that could cause some emotional complications." I mean, they're an emotionally stunted group of fundamentally flawed people doing a very silly pseudo job. That's what she's marrying into. So I hope she likes it. It's going to be weird for her. At the time of the interview, John would even note that he wouldn't even want to marry into the royal family himself. But the fact that he warned the public that she might back out, and the fact that she backed out of her royal duties is pretty shocking. That he warned us about this and then she married into the royal family anyways. Queen Elizabeth II. Even though Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made a trip to the UK in April of 2021 to visit Queen Elizabeth, it seems like the late Majesty was still less than pleased with her grandson's wife. An inside source would even come out to say Her Majesty believes Meghan and her publicity-obsessed antics pose a real threat to the monarchy. As she faced her final days, Elizabeth detests the self-centered newcomer for tearing Harry from his family to start a new life in America. The truth is, the Hollywood life has always been Meghan's dream, and Harry is her meal ticket. It was also noted that since the beginning, the Queen has always been very suspicious of Meghan, as Meghan has never been able to accept the royal rulebook. But still, because of her grandson, the Queen gave her many chances, and she hated how the Duchess of Sussex betrayed her. It was also stated that the Queen felt like Meghan used her title to gain an ambitious career in politics, which is a big no-no for the British family. After a while, even Queen Elizabeth lost patience with Meghan as she kept thumbing her nose at the royals, and she was letting everyone know what was happening behind the palace doors. Before the Queen passed away, she was really upset that Meghan would accuse the royals of being so cruel, uncaring, racist, and that she even had the guts to diss Prince William's wife, Kate. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton will never forget how Meghan Markle treated her, but she also has no need to prolong their feud. For years, rumors have been swirling around about a row between the Princess of Wales and the Duchess of Sussex at the wedding to Prince Harry in May 2018, and ever since, the relationship between the two ladies has remained very tense, with Kate saying she found it all to be very mortifying when she heard Meghan was claiming that she actually made Meghan cry during a row over the bridesmaid dresses. Kate has never wanted any suggestion of a rift with Meghan to come out to the press, so when Meghan started circulating lies about their relationship, it was really hard for Kate to deal with, and she did everything she could to keep her feelings private. While inside sources have claimed that Kate and Meghan both have very different versions of the story, she feels like she's not in the position to respond, as she thought it was all sorted out, and now Meghan's airing out all this dirty laundry, and it's just mortifying for Kate. Number 7, Prince William. A friend of Kate Middleton has claimed that Prince William absolutely hates Meghan Markle. In an explosive interview with the Daily Beast, the unnamed friend of Princess of Wales shared just how much Prince William dislikes Meghan and blames her for his falling out with Prince Harry. The source would go on to say the family blames Meghan for it all. Really, they absolutely hate her. Basically, it's a huge disaster. The insider continued to say, growing up, the brothers were so close. They lost their mom and their dad was disengaged. So they had this incredible bond. Everyone knew it. And then Meghan came along, everyone warned him off, but he wouldn't listen, and she just ripped him away. The bond is gone, completely gone, and this film is the latest betrayal. Now William really hates them both, and the friend would state further that it was really toxic and destructive for them all at the end of the day because they were family, and that their whole family has been ruined by Meghan. Number 6, King Charles. With Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continuing to air out the royal family grievances, despite making a few attempts to repair their relationship with the royal family after the Queen's passing, the main issue at play seems to be the ongoing release of their various media projects. With Harry's book and the couple's docu-series being released, it has caused some major tensions between the royals. And Charles has been left feeling pretty betrayed when it comes to Meghan's actions. If you don't recall, during Meghan's and Harry's wedding in 2018, Meghan's father couldn't attend, so she asked Charles if he would walk her down the aisle, and he would agree to Meghan's request because he's always actually been quite fond of her in the beginning. But now he's actually just somehow bewildered. The queen was used to handling this kind of thing, and it didn't really throw her as much as it's thrown Charles, and understandably, it's because his son and daughter-in-law have been saying some pretty hurtful things. That was actually just really uncalled for, especially when the royal family actually did so much for them, and they did so much to help Meghan transition into her royal duties, and she was just so ungrateful towards the whole process, and it seems like she just never wanted to learn how to follow the royal ways. Number 5. Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne has never been afraid to share her opinions on Harry and Meghan, although at times she has defended the couple in the past. She has even gone as far to say she felt sorry for them at one point, to make a full 180 calling out the couple for their disrespectful docu-series. Sharon is absolutely done with Meghan playing the victim, as she believes that instead, Meghan should be using her platform to raise awareness for her charity rather than the way she has been treated by the media and the royal family. Sharon will go on to say that Meghan's actions are trash, and that all she ever talks about is how she is treated poorly because of her race and how she acts. Sharon will go on to note that Meghan should instead be grateful because she has a great life, a beautiful family, and she's very much in love and needs to get a life and move on already. With every interview Meghan and Harry do, it seems like all they do is whine about how there's no positive points to any of their stories or proof to back up their stories, so for the most part, Sharon just thinks they're lying. While the press may be hard on Meghan when she came to England, they're hard on so many people, including the rest of the royal family. Number 4. Jeremy Clarkson. Back in December, Jeremy Clarkson would publish a very misogynistic article about Meghan in The Sun, where he wrote that he hated the Duchess of Sussex on a cellular level. In the article, Jeremy would reference a famous scene from Game of Thrones where he wrote, "At night, I'm unable to sleep as I lie there grinding my teeth and dreaming of the day when Meghan Markle is made to parade naked through the streets of every town in Britain while the crowds chant shame and throw lumps of excrement at her." In a tweet published after the article was released, Jeremy would call it a clumsy reference to the scene in Games of Thrones and acknowledge that it had gone down badly with a number of different people. Jeremy would then say, "I was horrified to cause so much hurt, and I shall be more careful in the future." His article would come with the release of Meghan and Harry's Netflix docuseries, in which the couple would open up about the social media threats they received in recent years. Jeremy's article would then spark near immediate backlash from Brits, as Jeremy let his feelings about Meghan and Harry loose. Number 3. Howard Stern. US radio host Howard Stern has slammed both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle over their new docu-series, branding them as whiny bees. When the first 3 episodes arrived on the Netflix platform, it would feature revelations about everything from the couple's first date, Princess Diana, and supposed racism in the UK. However, Howard was clearly not impressed with the series, and he would criticize the pair, saying, "The show is very weird for two people who have historically pleaded for privacy." The couple who stepped away as royals have been able to retain their royal titles, and they have consistently issued statements arguing privacy was not the reason they quit the royal family. Stern would then question the motivation behind the series, which he described as being like watching the Kardashians, except it was boring to watch. Howard would say, "It's been painful. I wouldn't stay with it, but my wife wants to watch it. You know, we have shows that we watch, but they come off like such whiny bees. I gotta tell you, I just don't get it. There's nothing real about the relationship from the beginning to end. Those two whining about wah, and they don't like me, and she wants to be beloved in this country. Man, oh man. It's just very weird to watch two people screaming. We wanted our privacy. We wanted the press to leave us alone. But then we saw them all release everything about their lives on Netflix, so Howard, I personally just don't get it either." Number 2. Piers Morgan. Meghan Markle has been dubbed as being manipulative and controlling by Piers Morgan, who slammed the Duchess after the prince addressed the United Nations on Nelson Mandela Day. In his opinion, the Good Morning Britain would claim that Meghan was doing everything she could to socially climb the ladder, and it's clear that she is actually a ridiculous, two-faced sham. The brutal takedown from Piers would come right after Meghan won her bombshell privacy legal battle with the publisher of the Mail over a letter she wrote to her estranged father. Meghan has previously won the case, but gained a second victory after the publisher fought for an appeal in the case. Well, Meghan described it not only being a victory for her, but for anyone who felt scared to stand up for what's right. In a powerful statement afterwards, throughout the privacy case, there had been a number of bombshell moments from the news that Meghan drafted the letter to her dad knowing that it could be leaked. However, Piers would hit back at Meghan's claims and he would mock her for impersonating some kind of letter day Winston Churchill rallying a nation in wartime rather than an unemployed actress fleecing her unelected marital royal status for gazillions from her California mansion. Number 1. Bethany Frankel. Bethany Frankel is always doubling down on her criticism of Meghan Markle as she claims that Meghan has painted herself into a corner following her royal exit. Bethany has said, "Timing is everything. Don't believe you owe BS. And play chess, not checkers." Bethany has also claimed that Meghan caused herself to be in a terrible situation when she and Prince Harry stepped down from their senior royal duties in 2020 and that she effed it all up when it came to her whole life outside of the royal bubble. Bethany would also note that Meghan is a polarizing person and that we shouldn't get it twisted, as Meghan is very much like a housewife and she can't stop talking about very things she wants to be, and that is to be irrelevant. Bethany would also state when Meghan left the royal family, she should have learned something. And that's if she wanted to leave the royal family, she should have just left the royal family, but instead we see her talking about the royal family in every single interview. But she never wanted to participate in the royal family game until she left the royal family and made it her own game. It honestly takes more energy not to forgive, but Meghan continues to hold on to her judges and expose the royal family in very condescending ways. Number 10. Chevy Chase. In 1978, Murray infamously got into a physical altercation with Chase Chevy. After the star returned to Saturday Night Live as a guest host, it began with the two trading some pretty heavy insults towards each other. It started when Murray telling Chase to go get with his wife, and Chase responded by telling Murray his face looked like something Neil Armstrong landed on. The insults seemed to escalate as quickly as their comebacks did, and television following the rest of the cast watched the two display in a physical altercation. Larnie Newman noted, "It was a very sad and painful thing to watch unfold during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in June of 2021. In May of 2012, Murray called his part in the scandal a childish feeling of jealousy and anger he let control him. He went on to say things that he was mad that Chevy left the cast of Saturday Night Live and Murray somehow was avenging Angel, who had to speak for everybody else. Chevy and Murray are soon back on good terms after the fiasco, and everything was fine as the two starred together in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack shortly after the altercation. Number 9. Richard Dreyfuss. Oscar winner Richard explained when he was working with Murray on the 1991 film What About Bob that Murray was a bully. He explained that Bill drank a lot at dinner and let his true colors showed and allowed everybody to see how much of a bully he was. When reflecting on his whole experience on set, he highlighted one incident where he asked Murray to read a tweak in the script and Murray lost his temper. He went on to say that the star became face to face with him, so close that their noses were touching. Murray then went on to scream at Richard at the top of his lungs and said, "Everybody hates you, you are tolerated." Richard then went on to note that he had no time to react because Murray then proceeded to throw an ashtray at him. Luckily the ashtray missed, and rather than making things worse, Richard decided to leave the room. Richard showed us that Murray has a violent past, not just with female co-stars, but also with his male ones. Number 8, we have Laura Ziskin. Richard Dreyfuss wasn't the only person who had problems with Murray and how he handled himself on the set of filming What About Bob. As producer, Laura Ziskin has said that she once had a disagreement with Murray which resulted in him tossing her into a lake. Although at the time she called it playful, in 2003 she claimed the event wasn't so playful, as throughout the set Murray started to become more aggressive. In one incident, Murray asked Laura for an extra day off, and when she said no, he had an epic meltdown and took Laura's glasses off before breaking them and throwing them across the parking lot. The altercation caused everybody to walk off production, and a bunch flew back to LA to film, only after Disney hired some bodyguards to physically separate Murray from harming anyone else between takes. Bill Murray tried to justify his actions in an interview back in 1991, saying he didn't get along with many of his cast and directors, and all he was doing was standing up for himself. Number 7, we have Harold Ramis. Bill Murray had a long decade estrangement from his longtime friend and collaborator Harold. Sadly, the two's friendship collapsed while on set of the film 1993 Groundhog's Day. During a heated creative dispute, Harold said he grabbed Murray's shirt collar and the two got into a heated altercation. In a book later released by Harold's daughter Violet titled Ghostbusters' Daughter: Life of My Dad, Violet would go on to note that the incident happened and Murray wouldn't speak to Harold for over 20 years, and even though Harold tried not to take it personally, he was ultimately left feeling heartbroken and confused about the unsurprised rejection. Murray was unheard from up until Harold was in the hospital, and Murray showed up to visit his old pal unannounced at 7 a.m. in February of 2014 with a box of donuts and a police escort. With Harold losing his ability to speak, he was no longer able to speak to Murray before his passing. However, Murray didn't mind and hung out with Harold for a couple of hours anyways. I'm glad Bill was able to put the two's differences aside and came together for his friend before his passing. Number 6, we have McG. Moving on to the set of Charlie's Angels, filmed in 2000s, director McG, whose real name is Joseph McGinty Nicol, claimed in an interview with Guardian in May of 2009 that working on movies can be pretty stressful at times, even adding that he doesn't think he's ever been on a film that hasn't had some type of altercation break out. In one incident, his nose was obliterated when his head collided with another. At first he didn't want to recall the name of the actor with respect, however he went on to say it was Bill Murray. And the industry is very passionate industry, and people take care of their own work. When Murray heard about the interview, he did his own interview with Times of London in October 2009. The star went on to note that Joseph has a really active imagination and he doesn't understand why he would make up that story. He then took to the situation further by stating a really serious sentence that made many feel uncomfortable. With Joseph coming forward about his experience in past film sets encountering the same situation, it's easy to see why Bill would lie to cover up the allegations, but now that more stars are coming forward, it's clear that McG had nothing to lie about and was warning us all about the actor before these events could happen again. Number 5, Angelica Houston. Addams Family star Angelica Houston was essentially hurt by Bill Murray's behavior on set of Wes Anderson's 2004 film. Angelica said Bill was horrible after working with him, and in May of 2017, Houston told Vulture that during her first week of set, Bill invited the entire cast for dinner except for her. She went on to say that everyone went out for dinner a little dog-faced at the fact she wasn't there or had been invited, and throughout the day they were telling her, "Oh, you know, we really don't want to go," but they all went otherwise. The whole situation really hurt Angelica. With the film being shot all over Italy, Angelica noted that she didn't see Bill again until they were on set to shoot in Florence. When she entered the set, Bill greeted her and asked her how she was and even said, "I miss you." In the heat of the moment, Angelica looked at him and said he was full of it and told Bill that he didn't miss her. Murray is said to be confused for a moment but was unfazed by the comment. Angelica showed us that Bill didn't care about his castmates and he wasn't afraid to single them out and make them feel unwanted in many situations. Number 4, we have Richard Donner. In the 1988 film Scrooge, directed by Richard Donner, follows Bill Murray as he plays a selfish, cynical television executive, Frank Cross, as he's haunted by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve. Being the first film that Donner and Murray were set to work in together, Donner was worried because he didn't know if the pair would get along. And considering Murray's past behavior on other sets, I don't blame him. With Scrooge being a box office success, Donner came forward to say that Murray was a super creative actor, but occasionally was difficult to work with. He also noted he was only as difficult to work with as any other actor. Cast and crews have gone on to say that the source between the rift between Donor and Murray was mainly because Murray's approach to acting is fully under the approach of method acting. When on scene, Murray has an approach that is somewhat wild and reckless, which can pose difficulties for actors and directors who are more comfortable with working in more traditional methods. With there being two sides to every story, Murray went on to say that the two had a disagreement over every single minute of the day because Donor demanded for lines to be delivered louder. Despite their differences on set, the two were still able to work it out and create an amazing film, which is still today's best holiday classic films to watch for the Christmas season. Number 3, Geena Davis. On the 1990 film set of Quick Change, Geena Davis explained how she was harassed and that she should have walked out. In her memoir titled Dying of Politeness, the Oscar-winning actress highlighted the actor once screamed at her on set for being late and continued to yell as he followed her to her trailer on the set. The altercation happened in front of a large crowd, cast, crew, and onlookers, but the star noted she should have walked away from their first meeting or profanely defended herself so she wouldn't have gotten the part. Davis and Murray first met in a hotel suite where he continued to try to use a massage device on her throughout her audition after her initial refusal. Davis explained she could have avoided the inappropriate treatment if she knew how to react or what to do during the audition, but she also didn't want to appear hard to work with, so she stayed quiet. She then went on to say that there's no point in regretting things, yet she's still here regretting it. This isn't the first time Murray has been linked to inappropriate behavior, as recently on the Searchlight Pictures suspended the production of Being Mortal after allegations surfaced of Murray engaging in an inappropriate way towards other cast members. Murray tried to defend his actions by saying, "I did something funny and it wasn't taken that way." Number 2, Jennifer Butler. On October 12, 2008, Jennifer Butler filed for divorce from Bill Murray, while alleging that their relationship was brutal and uncomplimentary. After 11 years together, the couple's relationship ended with both parties being accused of ugly behavior that played out in front of the press. While filing for divorce, Jennifer also requested at the time that there be a restraining order placed against her husband. While Bill's lawyers did come out to say they couldn't comment on the fact of the case, they did say Bill was deeply saddened by the breakup, and Jennifer Butler's accusations against her husband showed that Murray was aggressive both on and off set, and that her story should have been the reason the star was cancelled years ago before this mess got any worse. The two remained loving parents to their 4 children and would remain that way on best behavior for the best interest of their children. Number 1, Lucy Liu. Lucy's experience with Bill on the set of Charlie's Angels was truly heartbreaking, considering the stars showed amazing chemistry on screen. However, Lucy went on to say that she got into an argument with Murray on set and he started using language that was inappropriate and unacceptable. On the Los Angeles Times podcast, Asian Enough, Lucy said that during the confrontation, she stood up for herself and did not regret doing it. The star went on to note that no matter how high you get on the totem pole, there's no reason to put other people down. Liu went on to say that the clash came during a rehearsal on a scene which had recently been reworked. Bill was unable to come because he had to attend a family gathering, and when he learned about it, he was upset and hurled insults at her. Lucy definitely wasn't having it, and she definitely wasn't going to sit around and be talked to in a degrading language, so she decided to speak up for herself and stand by the one thing she had, which was her self-respect and dignity. Murray later downplayed the incident by saying, "Look, I will dismiss you completely if you are unprofessional in working with me. When our relationship is professional and you're not getting that done, forget it." Since the incident, many crew members who were on the set have told Lucy they're really grateful for what she did. Lucy then went on to say that since the film, her and Murray reconciled and that they have nothing bad to say about him. The two started talking at the Saturday Night Live reunion, and he was perfectly nice to her, but she also noted she would no longer sit around and be walked all over. Like Lucy, many stars have addressed their concerns about Bill over the years, and Hollywood should have been keeping an eye on it before matters got worse. Coming in at number 10, we have Aaron Taylor Johnston. Just after the movie Bullet Train hit theaters, Brad Pitt's co-star, Aaron Taylor Johnston, had a lot to say about the 58-year-old co-star Brad Pitt. He even revealed that his humble and gracious human being has a list of actors he refuses to work with. He's in a new chapter of his life. I think you work with many actors, and after a while you start making notes. I'm definitely not working with this person again. Brad has this list too. The good list and the bad list. True, not everybody gets along with each other on set, and Hollywood has a history of co-stars clashing. So if Brad Pitt is looking to keep himself out of drama by eliminating people he doesn't want to work with, then more power to him. There's no doubt that Aaron and Brad had a great working dynamic from what we can see in the movie. Let's just hope these two don't have each other on the bad list and they're on each other's good list so we can see them work together in the future. Coming in at number 9, we have Mark Forrester. It's claimed that since 2012, Mark Forrester and Brad Pitt refused to talk to each other, and probably for good reason. It's said that the relationship between the actor and director broke down to a degree that when they were filming the zombie apocalypse film, World War Z, the two had to communicate through third parties on set. With the film working on a tight deadline and the script being finalized and release dates being pushed back, and Pitt having final approval over new pages written by the writers, things definitely got a little heated on set. While Pitt wanted to salvage the end of the movie, Forrester wanted to scrap it and make the ending more simple. When Mark opened up about the drama, he said he believed he wasn't the problem in the first place, and rather than chucking more CGI at the problem, Mark stuck with his gut and basically kept pushing till the problem went away. So kudos for him for having the strength to do that. At number 8, we have Tom Cruise. Now, the pair starred in the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire. Pitt stated he couldn't stand working with Tom Cruise and that he found him annoying. Brad also noted that while they were filming the film, the actor felt miserable and that Cruise bugged him so much, it came to the point he started to resent him. The filming was so bad, at one point Cruise even tried to get off the film by asking the producer and film executive, David Geffen, how much it would cost, and David told him $40 million. Ultimately, Cruise decided to stay on the film, and the finished product shows that Pitt and Cruise had tension as both appeared to look exhausted. With the new Maverick sequel hitting box office, Tom wasn't shy to remind folks that he's back on top in Hollywood while his past co-host is nowhere near. Number 7, we have Harrison Ford. With claims that the devil was with them both, rumors started circulating that both Harrison and Pitt didn't get along while filming The Devil's Own. With Pitt noting that the film was the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking he's ever seen, majority of the two feuds came from the fact the actors couldn't decide which character should be the center of the film. With the two doing separate interviews about the film, Ford came out to say that for a second, Brad forgot for a minute he was talking to someone who was paid to write this stuff down. While the two were really excited to work with each other before the film started, it's sad to see that these great actors clash and let the worst get the best of them. Number 6, we have Mark Canton. Now, Harrison wasn't the only one who is said to had a feud with Brad Pitt while on the set of The Devil's Own. When Pitt claimed the film was irresponsible and that he couldn't believe how toxic the set was, news started to circulate that Pitt wanted to leave the film. That's when Mark Canton, the head of Columbia Pictures, had to threaten Pitt with a $63 million lawsuit that if he went through with the walkout, he was gonna sue him that. Mark even had to tell the actor that he didn't care and just to shoot something. While the filming was taking place, Pitt ultimately decided to avoid the lawsuit and stay on set. Number 5, we have Jennifer Aniston. Back in 1998, Jennifer and Brad were spotted on their first date, and by November of 1999, the two announced their engagement to the world, getting married on July 29, 2000. Despite both claiming they were madly in love with each other, ultimately, they decided to file for divorce on March 25, 2005, as rumors started circulating that Pitt may have had an intimate relationship with co-star Angelina Jolie while on set of Miss and Mr. Smith. Just after the divorce, Aniston agreed agreed to do an interview with Vanity Fair where she opened up about still mourning her marriage and she desired just to move on. Aniston explained that her relationship sadly came to an end when it cracked open that she was shown photos of Pitt and Angelina, and she was sad because Pitt and Angelina beforehand denied both the allegations that they were together. Since the pair split, the two since seem to have rekindled their friendship and have gotten close since Pitt divorced Angelina Jolie. Shia LaBeouf coming in at number 4. When on set of Fury, Brad Pitt is said to had some tensions with the actor. Shia didn't play around when it came to his character for his parts of the film, and he was so committed to the role he wanted to bring justice to his character. The actor was so into character, he even had one of his front teeth removed and went days without showering. While Shia was determined to make an impression with his work on Fury, he may have rubbed off the wrong way towards Brad Pitt. With a lot of the tensions on set, Shia explained that him and Pitt actually ended up in a physical altercation where they were constantly butting heads throughout the filming process. Pitt has refused to talk about the feud and ultimately decided to praise the actor on his commitment to his work. Number 3, we have Leonardo DiCaprio. Before the 2019, when the pair filmed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it said that Leonardo DiCaprio actually had a restraining order against Pitt, and ultimately that's why they didn't star any films together before 2019. In an interview, Brad joked that an incident they were no longer like to talk about happened as a result of the pair not getting along. In 1994, when Pitt was engaged to 90s blonde icon Gwyneth Paltrow, it said that Gwyneth broke Brad Pitt's heart when she ended their engagement, and after the breakup, it's rumored that Gwyneth was seen with Leonardo DiCaprio, and the pair was seen together. This obviously didn't sit well with Pitt, and his actions were pretty questionable towards DiCaprio, causing the restraining order to be put in place. However, in 2019, the stars both squashed their beef and are now said to be the bestest of friends. Number 2, we have Mike Tyson. Brad Pitt has always been in the headlines when it comes to his relationships, and this particular fling, no one saw coming. In 1988, Mike Tyson explained he was seeing now ex-wife Robin Givens when he caught Robin and Brad together. Tyson claimed he was mad and hurt by the incident, and he and Robin shortly after finalized their divorce. While Tyson claimed he was hurt by the whole ordeal, he also noted that he holds no ill feelings towards the top-ranked actor. Number 1, we have Angelina Jolie. Now, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have had an ongoing feud since their split in 2016. With the two being locked in a messy court battle for divorce, the custody of their children, Angelina recently brought up some completely shocking allegations against Pitt that haven't been discussed to the public before. The allegations claim Pitt was passionately aggressive, not only towards Jolie, but their children as well. While Pitt has decided to remain silent on the new allegations, Angelina is definitely set to expose more allegations to the public soon, which is definitely going to be hard for Brad Pitt to bounce back from this one.
Number 10, Prince Harry. Since stepping down from royal duties, Prince Harry has made his disdain for Charles pretty apparent, but he took his family beef to the next level when he criticized Charles's parenting on Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast. The 36-year-old claimed that his father handed down a cycle of genetic pain and suffering to him, which is why he and his wife Meghan Markle moved to Los Angeles. Harry says that they got out of the royal family to break the cycle. Quote, "He treated me the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my kids? We as parents should be doing the most we can do to try and say, you know what, that happened to me and I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen to you." Harry went on to describe his life as a royal as a mixture of the Truman Show and being in a zoo. In fact, Harry said that he had debated leaving the royal family since his early 20s because of what it did to his mom, which contradicts the narrative that Meghan was the one who wanted to leave. Number 9, Meghan Markle. During her explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey, the Duchess of Sussex claimed that someone in the family had expressed concern about the complexion of her child's skin. It was then that the allegations started to snowball, and Prince Harry told a star that the incident happened right at the beginning of the pregnancy and left him a bit shocked. Meghan told Oprah, "In those months when I was pregnant, all around the same time, we have in tandem the conversation of, he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born." Then a royal book by Christopher Anderson revealed that a source close to the family claimed that it was Charles who made the comment during a conversation over breakfast with his wife Camilla on the day that Meghan and Harry's engagement was announced. He allegedly asked Camilla, "I wonder what the children will look like," and lowering his voice asking, "I mean, what do you suppose the children's complexion might be?" So it wasn't exactly subtle. Number 8. Trevor Noah. The Daily Show host made it clear that he is not a fan of the new king at all and decided to make fun of his pen complaints. The British monarch got the whole internet laughing with his bizarre behavior because it was all caught on camera. The first time he frantically urged staff to clear the extra pens from his desk while he signed his accession proclamation. The second time was when he got really mad over a leaky pen, saying, "I can't bear this bloody thing. What do they do every stinking time?" But Trevor Noah thought he was being ridiculous and said, "What the hell was that? Did you see that thing that he did? He's also the ruler of an animal kingdom." I love how Charles says the pens leak on him all the time. You're literally the king of England, dude. If you don't like the pens, get different pens. I'm not an expert in the monarchy, but I'm pretty sure the hierarchy doesn't go Prince William, King Charles, and then the guy who buys the pens. Number 7. Jesse Armstrong. The creator and writer of HBO's Succession decided to use his acceptance speech at this year's Emmys to take a dig at King Charles. Jesse Armstrong graced the stage twice, once to pick up an award for his writing on the show, and again with the entire cast and crew to receive the Outstanding Drama Series award. He said, "A big week for Successions. New king in the UK, this for us. Evidently a little more voting involved in our winning than Prince Charles." Even in a room full of Americans, the audience was very shocked at this risky joke, and gasps could be heard on live broadcast. When there was a bit of an uncomfortable silence, the show's lead actor Brian Cox told him, "Keep it royalist," but Jesse kept going and said, "I'm not saying we're more legitimate in our position than he is. We'll leave that to the other people." According to eyewitness accounts, there was very little laughter in the room and most people just felt plain awkward. Number 6. Tony Blair. The royals are expected to understand that party politics and individual politicians are totally off limit for public comment. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was so furious about Prince Charles's behaviour during his time in Downing Street that he reportedly complained about him to Queen Elizabeth. He accused Charles of crossing the line and meddling in political matters by trying to influence government policy. The ex-Labour leader was said to have become exasperated by his interventions over agriculture, the armed forces, architecture and homeopathy, and even genetically modified foods. Then scandal erupted for both men in 2015 when they became embroiled in the scandal known as the Black Spider Memos, which was a collection of 27 letters that Charles sent from 2004 to 2005 lobbying the British PM for the policy changes that he hoped for. This was a pretty big controversy considering that members of the royal family are supposed to stay out of politics and remain neutral, especially the ones who were always destined to be king. Number 5. Princess Diana. When Prince Charles wed Diana in 1981 in front of a global television audience of more than 750 million people, the couple seemed to be perfect for each other. But behind the scenes, the marriage had extreme problems, and it became apparent that Charles was having an affair with Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. A heartbroken Diana bravely decided to expose the affair in an infamous 1992 interview, saying, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Subsequently, Charles publicly admitted to being unfaithful in his own interview, and the couple eventually divorced in 1996. With his admission of guilt, there was already public outrage growing against him, but it all came to a head when the princess was killed in a Paris car crash in 1997. From that point on, there were vitriolic outpourings in the press against both him and Camilla, and his popularity sank to an all-time low. So the British public, who is still very protective of Diana, still haven't been able to forgive Charles for how he treated her during their ill-fated marriage. Number 4. Richard Rogers. The award-winning British architect had made it known that when it comes to his career and livelihood, his biggest enemy is King Charles, who has used his power and influence on several occasions to step in at the last minute and object to Richard's designs. In one instance, Charles personally wrote a letter to his client, the Prime Minister of Qatar, another royal, to say that Richard's design was too modern to be built on a site that was so close to Christopher Wren's 17th century Chelsea hospital. So the architect was kicked off the job of, and the British architectural establishment was up in arms. Richard said, "I don't believe that the Prince of Wales understands architecture. He thinks it is fixed at one point in the past. He occupies a privileged position, and he should not use that to damage the livelihoods of the people that he disagrees with." While it's common knowledge that Charles has a huge disdain for modern architecture, which is probably classist in some way or another, it seems as though he is not above ruining someone's career over his taste in buildings. Number 3. Boris Johnson. The former Prime Minister and the new reigning monarch always had a rocky relationship, but they got into a major spat when Boris started pushing the controversial Rwanda asylum plan. The policy would have allowed the government to remove asylum seekers who crossed the channel to the UK and send them to Rwanda to claim asylum there instead. In short, Boris thought it was a great plan, and Charles said that the idea sounded appalling. The former British PM hit back at his comments, saying that most people could see that criminal gangs need to be stopped, and that it's the job of the government to stop people breaking the law. But their relationship really began to sour, and Charles eventually invited Boris to his estate for a meeting, which was a complete disaster from start to finish, as Boris reportedly didn't show him any respect, and there was clearly a lot of tension between them. Number 2. Nigel Farage. The broadcaster and former politician was quick to criticize King Charles's opinion on the controversial Rwanda policy. Farage took to Twitter and slammed his comments, writing, "Unless Prince Charles wants to destroy the monarchy, he had better shut up fast." Not only did he disagree with his point of view, but the fact that he expressed it at all, considering that yes, he is a royal and should not be making his political opinions public. But Farage really came under fire after posting a clip that seemed to mock Queen Elizabeth's death. He shared a 5-second clip to his TikTok account, which has now been viewed more than 6 million times, with the caption, "The Queen is dead, long live the King." In the video, Nigel looked and sounded incredibly sarcastic and said, "The Queen is dead, long live the King, sad day but we now have a king." He also shared the post on Twitter. No one was really sure what he meant by it, but a lot of people thought it was inappropriate considering how little emotion he showed while making the announcement. And coming in at number 1, Princess Catherine. The royals are known for their discretion and their decorum, so you might not know that the new King of England did not get along with his daughter-in-law at all. Although Kate and William have been an item for over a decade, Charles reportedly didn't embrace her when she was first introduced to the family and did not approve of their relationship. Part of the reason was because they were immensely popular, and Kate and William would send the media into a tailspin every time they left the palace. Their whirlwind romance began just a few years after Charles married Camilla, and unfortunately the older couple didn't seem too happy about sharing the spotlight with the younger couple. In 2011, the pair flew to Canada and LA on their first official trip as a royal couple. They reportedly hoped to impress King Charles, but all he seemed to care about was the fact that they posed in too many tasteless photos. So Kate's relationship with her father-in-law was rocky from the beginning.
Number 10. Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie was the Harley Quinn to Leto's Mr. J back in the Suicide Squad days, but they most definitely were not as close off-screen as they were on-screen. A lot of people believe that he took his role as the Joker way too far. Being the first Joker since Heath Ledger, he had massive shoes to fill, and that may have gotten to his head a little bit. I don't know. Although he is known as a method actor wherein he extends a personification of his character beyond the screen and into real life, he ended up doing some pretty harmful stuff to his co-star Margot Robbie. In fact, he sent the actor a live rat to her on set, apparently in an effort to better personify the Joker. There's absolutely no way she was happy about that, given she's an extremely professional actor and also who likes getting gifted a rat. Number 9. Will Smith. Will Smith is another Suicide Squad co-star who got caught in the craziness of the Jared Leto Joker personification. In fact, he may have gotten it worse, because he was gifted, along with a few others, a dead pig. You heard me right, Will Smith, the A-list actor, got gifted a dead pig. I guess he was trying to make people feel unsettled and uncomfortable with him as a person in hopes that it would translate to how they interacted with the Joker while on screen, but all it did was backfire on Jared Leto. Although he was featured very heavily in the trailer for the movie due to his insane antics, his screen time was cut all the way down to 10 minutes and he was barely featured at all when the movie finally came out. Will Smith also gave comment to Margot receiving her gift of the rat. When he first met Jared, he said, quote, "This dude walks in and says, 'I got a message from Mr. J,' and he puts a box down in front of Margot, being like, 'This is a gift from Mr. J in honor of your relationship.' Margot starts to open the box and there's a note from the Joker. And I was like, that's cool, that's funny. Jared is like taking it real serious. And Margot opened the box and there was a live rat in the box. I was playing Deadshot, but if I had pearls on, I would have clutched them. He even showed his own personal distaste for the character with, quote, "We all shared some really deep stories about ourselves and our pains and our triumphs. And then on set, you thought he was being a nice guy and you were trying to share your life, and then then in the middle of a scene, he throws your childhood trauma back at you and says, dude, the Joker did it. Number 8, Robert Pattinson. Although he didn't name Jared Leto specifically, it is pretty obvious who Robert Pattinson was shading during an interview, and that was none other than Jared Leto. While discussing how he got into the headspace to film The Lighthouse, a psychological thriller, he said he would be exhausted leaving the set. This was all during the time of people criticizing Jared Leto, so it seemed really pointed when Pattinson said, quote, I always say about people who do method acting, you only ever see people do the method when they're playing assholes. You never see someone being lovely to everyone while they're really deep in character. Number 7, Taylor Swift. There's no way that Taylor Swift's army took kindly to Jared Leto dissing their beloved singer. TMZ released a video of the Oscar winner critiquing the young singer's music. In the clip, Leto and his 30 Seconds to Mars bandmates listened to tracks from Taylor's album 1989. After playing some of her songs, the actor quickly became disenchanted by her and really aggressive. He exclaims, quote, "F her, I don't give a fuck about her." Although Taylor Swift never commented on the anger directed at her, her fans sure did. Jared immediately got pummeled online, and in an extremely rare response to criticism, Jared tweeted out, quote, "The truth is, I think Taylor Swift is amazing and an incredible example of what's possible. If I hurt her or her fans, my sincerest apologies." I don't know, man, or you can just not be mean for no reason. Number 6, Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne is another Jared Leto victim from her time on Suicide Squad. Playing the baddie of the movie Enchantress, she almost did a better job of playing a villain than he did. But Jared's weirdo method acting behavior waits for no man, and so as a wrap party gift, he gave Cara used condoms and toys meant for, you know, intimacy. She did not take too kindly to the gifts, obviously, especially because Cara had a rumored fling with Jared 4 years prior to the release of their movie together. Number 5, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was another actor to step into the role of the Joker in a later standalone movie. He was one of the best to do it in my opinion, although I don't think anyone can top Heath Ledger. But Joaquin apparently almost got stripped of the movie role because of Jared Leto. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Jared was under the impression that his initial stunt as the Joker would lead to many more movie roles, and there were talks about Jared being the Joker in the movie Joaquin would end up starring in. But likely due to making everyone uncomfortable and unsafe, none of those roles came to fruition. When he got wind that Joaquin Phoenix would be taking on the role to tell the supervillain's origin story, Jared reportedly felt, quote, alienated and upset. In response to the news, Jared actually attempted to stop the new production from happening. The outlet claims that he complained about the movie to both his agents and CAA, and even tried to contact Warner Bros. Partner company to get the movie pulled, obviously to no success. Considering it seems Jared has burned most of his bridges with anyone involved in the DC universe, don't expect him to return as the Joker in any capacity anytime soon, though you'll be able to watch Joaquin probably reprise his role in a sequel. Number 4, Viola Davis. Although Jared Leto makes tons of people uncomfortable while on the set of the Joker, none were as outspoken about how upset it made them like Viola Davis was. In an interview with Entertainment News, Viola said that she was less than pleased with the box of bullets that Leto sent her while on set for the comic book adaptation. Quote, "It was a little worrisome. It made you a little nervous, and I'm pretty tough. You know, I got into a few fights when I was growing up, but it scared me a little bit." She then said that she only ever really met Jared after filming ended because he was in character the entire time they were on set. Quote, "Before that, I was only introduced to the Joker, and I almost had my pepper spray out. You know, you remember the bullets you sent me? He gave very interesting gifts. I did not receive any personally, or else I would have got my husband, who was called Headache Ball back in the day when he played football, and I would have said, take care of the Joker." I almost wish he did send her a gift now just to see how that drama would unfold. Number 3, Cameron Diaz. Not many women have had long-lasting relationships with Jared Leto, except for one woman, Cameron Diaz. They were initially linked back in 1999, and a lot of people suspected that Jared was a rebound for Cameron, who just broke up with her previous boyfriend of a year. Despite maintaining a low-profile relationship, news circulated in 2000 that the couple were engaged. Cameron was spotted with a $15,000 ring at the 2003 Golden Globe Awards. That being said, Cameron was always very hesitant to talk about her relationship with Jared, saying that she didn't want to jinx it. But I guess no need, because the two broke up in 2003. Although she never commented on the relationship directly, she did make hints to Jared being awful to her. Quote, "My rule is that there are no tricks in this game. I believe in honesty and communication and in treating people the way you want to be treated. Love should be unconditional." And for his part too, Jared had admitted that he, quote, "wasn't very nice to her." Whatever that means. Number 2, Dylan Sprouse. Dylan Sprouse, the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody star, very publicly came for Jared Leto's throat back in 2018 when he tweeted out, quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 8 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is? Jared has a history of liking women who are much younger than him, and Dylan is coming for his throat. Maybe someone close to him got a particularly creepy DM, but either way, he was not having any of his nonsense. The tweet garnered almost 50,000 likes. Although Jared Leto nor his team have made any attempt to reply or even give any mention to the tweet, a lot of users did seem to suggest that there was an open secret about Jared Leto only liking barely legal girls. And lastly, James Gunn, the director of Suicide Squad. In a now deleted tweet that was a reply to Dylan Sprouse's shade posted after he had filmed Suicide Squad, James very not so subtly hinted at some very serious allegations. In response to Dylan's tweet, James Gunn said, quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet." James Gunn insinuating that Jared Leto tries hooking up with underage fans is extremely off base, and comes as no surprise to those who follow the actor after he was accused of being inappropriate with multiple teenage fans.